And a good Friday evening to you and yours. We welcome you to the friendly confines of Klein Field at Sunken Diamond, a crucial Pac-12 baseball series about to begin as the Arizona State Sun Devils are in town to square off against the Stanford Cardinal. Arizona State 26-24 on the year, 14-13 in Pac-12 play. That's tied for sixth entering today. Stanford 20-25, 11-13 in league action, and eighth in the league as the standings and action began today. It's great to have you with us here. Troy Clarity and Kevin Dana taking you through this one on a gorgeous evening here on the farm. Kevin, you look at it statistically, and these two teams seem to have a lot in common, not just necessarily maybe in the win-loss column in the Pac-12 standings a little bit, even though Arizona State a couple of games ahead there, but statistically, both teams can scald the ball. They have been doing extremely well from a batting standpoint at the plate. However, on the mound, they've had some issues over the past couple of months. Two teams on seemingly similar trajectories, but only one team takes a step closer, moving a step up in the standings here this weekend.
Well, you're absolutely right, Troy. You take a look at top half offenses by batting average. Arizona State leads the Pac-12. They're hitting .303 as a team with 81 home runs this year, just on a tear. And Stanford fourth in the conference in batting average. But on the other side, these are the two worst pitching staffs by earned run average. Stanford is 10th with a 6.11 ERA, and Arizona State is the only team they're better than with an ERA of 6.80. I mean, they played a 21-18 game last weekend against Washington, so we could have a lot of runs here over the next 27 innings plus, potentially.
Yeah, there have been some absolutely bonkers games that Arizona State has been involved in, especially in the R category when you look at some of the things they've been involved in throughout the course of the season. We'll tell you about that as we go along this weekend. We'll have plenty of opportunities to do so. Stanford coming off of a 3-game sweep. Unfortunately, on the wrong end of that sweep, down in Tucson. This is the penultimate weekend as Stanford heads down to LA to face the UCLA Bruins to round out the regular season. Pac-12 tournament is a consideration here. I don't think Stanford's in any real serious danger of being on the wrong end and being left out of the standings. However, that's not necessarily something you want to attempt here. You want to get wins here in May. Those are always currency.
Exactly right, Troy. And obviously, you can't just play these games based on paper, but if you need wins in your last 6 games, this is not a bad setup, right? You got UCLA, who's 6-18 in conference. You get them on the road for your final 3. Arizona State 14-13. They're tied for 6, as you mentioned. But if things shake out right this weekend, Cal's not playing a conference opponent. They're playing San Jose State. All goes well. You're looking at 14-13. And you're looking potentially, depending on how USC does this weekend, moving up into 5th place. So there's a lot of things that could go right for Stanford these final 2 weekends, and especially this weekend at home.
Certainly a lot for the Cardinal to play for here, and they will be turning to their ace this evening, the sophomore from Reading, Connecticut, in Matt Scott. By and large, the first couple months of the season, Scott and Christian Lim, who we're scheduled to see tomorrow, those two were really helping to pace things as there's a rabbit between second base and the center field and running out towards left field. So you'll have to pardon me if I'm a little bit distracted here and trying to fight my way through this monologue here. But look, Matt Scott, so much on his shoulders coming into this season, and he's had some ups. He's had some downs. He has a chance here tonight to try to come up big against a hot swinging team in Arizona State.
Yeah, and I mean, if he could record a quality start tonight, that would work wonders. You would figure going forward to the UCLA weekend, and assuming they stay in the top 9 of the Pac-12 in the Pac-12 baseball tournament and try to make you run for there. But he's not coming off a good start. 4 1/3, gave up 9 hits, 8 runs, 7 of those were earned. Did have no walks, 7 strikeouts, so that's kind of a weird pairing there. You give up so many runs and hits, but you still strike out 7 and don't walk anybody over 88 pitches. So he wants to get back on the bump.
So we will see Matt Scott in just a moment. Meanwhile, the rabbit is being guided out of Sunken Diamond. Special thanks to the Sun Devils for assisting in that endeavor. You never know what you're going to see when you come to the ballpark, do you?
Exactly. They say you can go to baseball games your whole life and you'll still see something new every time you go.
I think the last game I was here, there was a rabbit running around in the field. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Let's give you the starting lineups for both teams. The batting order for Arizona State. First off, they are leading the Pac-12 in team batting average at .303. Ryan Campos leading off. Kien Vu batting second. Nick McLean bats third. Jacob Tobias in the cleanup spot. Brandon Compton, the designated hitter, he's batting fifth. Ethan Mendoza bats sixth. Isaiah Jackson, a lights-out terrific player, he's batting seventh. Mario DeMera bats eighth. And Steven Ondina rounds out the Arizona State batting order. A bunch of lefties. Campos, Vu, Tobias, Compton, and Jackson are your lefties, and McLean is a switch hitter. The head coach of the Arizona State Sun Devils in his third year running the program in Tempe is Willie Bloomquist. Yes, that Willie Bloomquist. Yes. We'll talk more about him as we go along. Cardinal about to take the field as they gather, get some final last-minute instructions before heading out and taking the field. Of course, the home plate conference has now finally been broken up between Willie Bloomquist and the Clark and Elizabeth Nelson Director of Baseball, David Esker. In the outfield from left to right for the Cardinal, it's Court McDonald, Ethan Hott, and Jimmy Natai. Around the horn, Timo Becerra at third, Trevor Haskins at short, Owen Cobb at second, Brandon Larson at first, Malcolm Moore behind the dish, and on the mound for Stanford is the sophomore, 6'7", 247, out of Reading, Connecticut, Matt Scott. A 4-7 record and a 5.35 ERA. About to make his 13th appearance and start of the year. 67 in the third innings pitched, 58 hits, 43 runs, 40 of them earned, 91 strikeouts, 27 walks. Opposing batters hitting .229 against Scott, who has thrown 6 wild pitches and hit 4 batters so far this season.
Well, you were talking about it when you were reading the Arizona State lineup, Troy, that they have a lot of lefties, and you'd figure with Matt Scott being a righty that the switch hitter McLean will be batting from the left side of the batter's box as well. So he's potentially going to be throwing to 5 lefties to start at 1 through 5, all lefties.
So Scott will have to get things going and perhaps get things going in a bit of a hurry here tonight. Yeah. Good to see the scoreboard up and operational. The big scoreboard in right center field as the Stanford Cardinal take the field on a gorgeous 78-degree evening. Not a cloud in the sky here in the Bay Area today. It's supposed to be the warmest day of the weekend. Might cool off a couple of degrees both tomorrow and Sunday, but should be picture-perfect playing conditions here all weekend long.
Yeah, good thing they weren't playing here last weekend, Saturday. Just an absolute downpour in the Bay Area. But Matt Scott's due, I think, for a good start. I mean, since getting the quality start at Oregon State when he went 6 strong, gave up just 3 runs, he's given up at least 5 runs in each of his last 3 starts. Hasn't retired more than 16 hitters. He's gone 5 1/3. That's the longest he's gone in his last 3 starts. That being said, it's not going to be easy against this high-powered Sun Devil offense.
No, it won't be easy. Top to bottom, one of the more dangerous lineups that you're going to find in the Pac-12. But when Matt Scott is on, he is on. Especially when he has that slider going, he can be especially filthy. Let's see how he attacks the Sun Devils here this evening. First game of the series between Stanford and Arizona State. Game 2 tomorrow with first pitch at 2:05 p.m. And then it's a Mother's Day special at 1:05 p.m. on Sunday. It's also the final home game in all likelihood of the season for Stanford baseball this year. A lot's going to happen in order for Stanford to make it into the NCAA tournament. And maybe a lot doesn't have to happen. Maybe the path is quite clear. Stanford needs to win the Pac-12 tournament this year in order to make it into the NCAA tournament. And even if they do that, highly unlikely that they will have a chance to host here at Sunken Diamond this year. So this weekend, in all likelihood, your final chance to watch the Stanford 9 here at Sunken Diamond.
Yeah, all you would need to do is to win your regional on the road, then have who's ever on the opposite side be like the 4 seed coming out of there. And then, I mean, yeah, it's highly unlikely that Stanford would host a super regional.
But I like how you think.
Yeah, hey.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yes.
Ryan Campos striding to the plate. The most dangerous bat in the Arizona State lineup. Campos, a junior from Mesa, Arizona, slashing .333, .442, .586. With 10 home runs, a team-high 47 RBI, leads Arizona State with 116 total bases. He has been a mainstay for Arizona State at the top of their lineup all season long.
Yeah, how about this? He's played in 139 career games. He's reached base in 129 of those, 93%.
How about that? That's not something you see every day either.
Ew.
Matt Scott rocks and deals. First pitch on the way. Away we go. Cardinal and the Sun Devils. We're off and running. First pitch at 6:10 p.m. 5 minutes late. I blame the rabbit.
Yes.
First pitch upstairs and outside. The 1-0 pitch to Campos. Swing and miss on the fastball. Count goes to 1-1. Campos was first team All Pac-12 last season and has won Pac-12 Player of the Week honors twice this year, both in the month of April, April 1st and April the 29th. 1 ball and 1 strike. Foul back just off to our left, may have hit the camera tower and ricocheted back into the stands. A young man's about to get a souvenir. Nice job. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Campos. Arizona State batting .303 as a team, slugging .519. That's third in the Pac-12. .389 on base percentage. That's third. The 1-2 floats a breaking ball, misses low. 2-2.
Yeah, didn't miss by much. That's a pretty good eye from Campos there.
Sun Devils also have hit 81 home runs this season. They hit 83 all of last year. The 2-2 pitch. High and inside, 94-mile-an-hour fastball, runs the count full. Scott checking the wristband. And deals the payoff pitch. Fouled off. Campos going opposite field with that foul ball. Mesa, Arizona, of course, right next door to Tempe. They call it the East Valley, I believe. Scottsdale's over there. Gilbert's over there. Payoff pitch, once again on the way from Scott. High strike called.
You saw Campos there. He was getting ready to twirl his bat back to the dugout. He thought that was ball quattro, but instead it's strike number 3, and a good start there for Matt Scott. Yeah, Campos making him show a good chunk of his arsenal there. A good at-bat from the respect that you made him throw a lot of pitches and allowed the rest of the batting order to kind of see what's in store, but a good bounce back because you don't want to help this lineup up at all.
Jeff Heinrichs, the home plate umpire. Jason Benson at first. Travis Eggert at second. Gary DeFabio, the third base umpire. And brings up Kien Vu. Fantastic story as he swings and misses at the fastball for strike 1. Vu has just been lighting things up since entering the starting lineup in late March, hitting a team-high .420, on-base percentage of .485, slugging .773. Yeah. And yes, all of those, he's played enough games now and had enough at-bats and plate appearances to qualify. So he is, if not for Travis Pizzana at Oregon State, he would probably be sitting at the very top of a lot of offensive categories for the Pac-12 this year.
He's second in all those slash lines that you mentioned. He has an OPS north of 1,200.
1 ball and 1 strike. Scott tries the high fastball again. This time does not get the call. 2-1. Vu, a sophomore from San Diego. Played 39 games last year, but didn't get really that much of an opportunity for much of the early going of this season. The 2-1. Fires low, 3-1. Didn't get his first plate appearance in Pac-12 play until 6 games in. Didn't become a regular starter until the end of March. Vu facing the 3-1. Swing and a miss. Count full.
I mean, this is a guy who's raised batting average 165 points this year. He was a .284 hitter in high school, which is good, but it's not .420.
The 3-2 pitch on the way from Scott. Tries to nibble outside but misses. So Arizona State gets the ball forward. They were looking for just a batter later. Here's Nick McClain, redshirt sophomore from Tustin, California, transferred from UCLA. McClain on the season slashing .305, .425, .583 with 9 home runs and 43 driven in. And oh, by the way, he's the current Pac-12 Player of the Week.
And National Player of the Week.
High from Scott for ball one. McClain killed Washington pitching last weekend. 8 of 16, 3 home runs, 9 driven in, went 5 for 5 in the series finale. And oh, by the way, hit a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 10th in the series opener. Claps at this one. Cobb a long way to go. Throw the first, not in time. And now the throw over to the third, safe.
Wow, that is just heads-up base running by Kian Vu to be able to leg that out, get all the way to third. I mean, that was a slow roller to the right side of the infield, so he had the right idea there. If you're at full stretch, you have a chance to leg that out to third, and Vu showing off his speed there. That was really impressive base running.
And that's a decision you have to make instantly.
Instantly.
As soon as the ball is coming off the bat, and you get a good sense of where it's headed. Runners at the corners with 1 out. Brings up Jacob Tobias, junior from Bakersfield, California. Tobias, a team-high 13 home runs, 35 driven in. He's hitting .311 on the season. Slugging .580. On-base percentage of .404. Scott from the stretch. The pitch. High for ball one. Tobias, the 4th of up to 5 consecutive lefties to be at the top of the lineup for Arizona State. Nick McClain, a switch hitter. We just saw him. He's standing at first right now. Vu's over at third. The 1-0. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. 1-1.
You figured he'd try to pound low in the zone, see if he can get Tobias to hit over the top of something, try to get a tailor-made DP ball.
Timo Becerra at third, even with the bag. 1-1. Another breaking ball. Count goes to 1-2.
I mean, I don't think he'd be mad with a strikeout either.
There's any way that Scott can retire Tobias and prevent Vu from scoring. If he can accomplish both of those things, he'll be thrilled. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Off speed, outside, 2-2. Gorgeous evening here at Sunken Diamond. 80 degrees officially as we began this one. Slight breeze out to center for the looks of it.
A welcome breeze here in the press box.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Foul back, if not for the screen separating the playing field from the stands. Kevin, me and you might be scrambling and diving for a ball.
Clarity, that was all mine.
It was.
Yeah, I was ready to barehand that.
You would have earned that one, my man. 2-2. Runner going to second. The throw down that way, not in time. So the count goes to 3-2 on Tobias while McClain takes second base.
5th stolen base of the year for McClain.
Vu is the Sun Devils' leading base dealer. He's 8 for 8 in that category. He's at third. 2 in scoring position. The 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Moore checking third, and now the throw skips off Becerra's glove. Vu scores. Rounding third is McClain, and he scores easily.
Wow.
Arizona State strikes out, but they get 2 big runs to start the game.
Well, it looked like they were going to have Vu rung up at third. He took that initial step towards home plate, and you're like, oh, we got this guy. But just a little too much zest, I suppose, on the throw back to third, and Timo couldn't get it. And, that's kind of the worst of both worlds there for Stanford.
So Brandon Compton comes to the plate. Redshirt freshman from Buckeye, Arizona. He's on a 6-game hit streak. First pitch, upstairs. Scott's been missing a bit high, it seems, so far in the early going here. Compton overall in the season, slashing 340, 408, 647. Has struck out a team high 49 times. Does have 11 home runs and 42 driven in. Runner at second is Tobias. Fouls this one back to the screen. Count goes to 1-1.
I mean, just some of these numbers you're reading off, Troy, these slash lines are astronomical, almost like they're playing MLB The Show out there.
Almost like a cheat code.
Yeah.
In a sense. One ball, one strike. And still one out as that pitch goes low and outside. 2-1.
If only the Buffaloes had a baseball team. I'd love to watch Arizona State play in Boulder.
That might be why they don't have one.
Yeah.
By the way, the error charged to Timo Becerra on that sequence that allowed 2 to score for Arizona State. Appeal to third base umpire Gary DeFabio. He says, nope, Brandon held up. So the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, I agree with that ruling. I didn't think the throw was that wild from Malcolm.
Runner at second in the 3-1. Floats it in there, called strike 2. Kind of feels funny to say that a pitch was floated in there when it still went 92 miles an hour. But.
Yeah, compared to what he was, he's thrown 94 today, but it did look like it was floated in there.
Full count once again. The pitch. Fouled back. Scott has faced 5 batters. He has gone to a full count on 3 of them so far.
I mean, already we're seeing, even though they haven't shown the power yet, they're 81 home runs, you could see why this team hits 303. They make you earn it. I mean, they're second in the conference in walks, in addition to being tops in batting average. It's just no out is easy.
Tobias at second. Moore setting up on the inside corner of the plate. The pitch, low. Second walk issued by Scott. And runners at first and second, and that brings up Thomas Eager out of the Cardinal dugout. Eager, the Kathy Wolf assistant coach, also in charge of pitching and recruiting for Stanford baseball. Taking a bit of a slow walk out to the mound, an outing that to this point has not quite gone as planned for Matt Scott. He's thrown 29 pitches so far already in this one. Betrayed a bit by his defense. The error charge to Timo Becerra on a strike him out that Moore wasn't able to quite corral and hang on to, and was able to try to make the throw over to third, as that's where Kien Vu was hanging out instead of going over to first to get the sure out there. And the throw over to third skipped off Timo Becerra's glove, and that allowed Vu and McLean both to score.
Yeah, that's just mentally got to be tough to come back from, because you're thinking, all right, it's going to be first and second with 2 down and a scoreless game, and instead, it's 2-0, that out didn't count.
Now, that being said, though, in the early going, Scott hasn't done himself many favors.
He's walked
to this
a couple.
Point. Yep.
Yeah.
And Arizona State has capitalized to this point. Ethan Mendoza will try to keep it going for ASU. Freshman from Bedford, Texas. He's on a 10-game hit streak, hitting .467 over that streak entering today. Mendoza hitting .321, 3 home runs, 23 RBI. 2 on, 1 out. Fastball pounds the outside corner, strike 1 called.
And this was a guy who didn't show off a ton of power, really. I mean, any power when you're talking about leaving the yard kind of power until last weekend, where he hit all 3 of his home runs. So perhaps he's found something here at this level.
Boy, everybody who picked up a bat last week for Arizona State had a day and had a weekend against Washington, it seemed.
We slapped some maroon and gold on Clarity. I think he might have left the yard.
Maybe. Oh, at least taking to the track. Runners are first and second with 1 out. The 1-1 pitch. Pumps the fastball, misses low, 2-1. Scott struck out 12 in 6 innings of work at Rice earlier this season. Foul tip, and everyone has to go back to where they were. Count goes to 2-2. That was back on March 1st. That start at Rice. Scott trying to find his way through this one. Was the 22 Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Connecticut. The 2-2 pitch. Blocked by Moore. Everybody stays put. Once again, the count full.
Yeah, that started a stretch of 4 straight quality starts where he pitched at least 6 and gave up no more than 3 runs. Then run into some trouble against Utah. Had a couple of good starts against Washington State and Oregon State, and then has struggled since.
Playing some games at second, and Scott spins back there, loops one that Cobb is able to take just shy of the bag. Tobias at second, he struck out but reached on a wild pitch. Compton at first. Yeah, it's funny. You know, Scott pitched very well February, March, and back then Stanford wasn't hitting so well. So it was like, wow, let's see what happens when Stanford gets their runs, and Matt's able to get some run support. Runners going. This one's lashed right to Larson at first, and he steps on the bag.
It's a nice glove there by Larson. That came in scorching hot down the first base side. But, yeah, you mentioned it. This Stanford team didn't have the bats going, and over their last 22 games they've hit 317, but the pitching has dipped off, unfortunately, for the Cardinal in that stretch.
Stanford has not been able to put it all together, at least for consistent stretches so far this season. But then again, it's a young team. Might have expected that a little bit coming in. Isaiah Jackson, sophomore from Vail, Arizona. Jackson hitting .270, 8 home runs, 28 RBI. A .354 on-base percentage. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. 0-1 to Jackson.
Yeah, really known for his glove in center field. But his offense coming around, he was Pac-12 all-defensive last year.
Yep. No balls and 1 strike. Bounces and skips and ricochets all the way to the fence, allowing Tobias to score easily. 3-0. So Arizona State has scored all of its runs on wild pitches. Now, of course, it wasn't necessarily the wild pitch in itself that allowed Arizona State to score its first 2 runs. It was the error as a result of that wild pitch.
But I mean, as you mentioned, Troy, Matt just not doing himself many favors.
Fastball fouled off opposite field. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Jackson as that's headed towards the softball stadium. Hey, any events happening on campus here today?
I mean, you know, you could just tell by the parking situation here.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Got him. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and finally the side is retired. But Arizona State scores 3 runs on just 1 base hit, 2 on a fielding error by Timo Becerra, and 1 on a wild pitch by Matt Scott. Half an inning in, Arizona State 3, Stanford coming to bat. Let's give you the Cardinal batting order. Beginning with Owen Cobb at the top of the lineup. Then you have Ethan Hott batting second, Court McDonald batting third, Malcolm Moore batting fourth, Jimmy Natai in the 5 spot, Brandon Larson batting 6th. Jake Sapien is the designated hitter for tonight. He is batting 7th. Trevor Haskins is batting 8th. And Timo Becerra rounds out the Cardinal batting order. Stanford hitting .289 as a team. That's 4th in the Pac-12 entering today. Defensively for the Sun Devils, in the outfield from left to right, it's Kien Vu, Isaiah Jackson, and Nick McLean. Around the horn, Mario Demera at third, Steven Andina at short, Ethan Mendoza at second, Jacob Tobias at first. Ryan Campos is behind the plate. Ben Jacobs takes the ball. He's been the Friday night starter for Arizona State. He continues in that role here tonight. The sophomore, a transfer originally from Huntington Beach, California, but previously played at UCLA. Jacobs about to make his 18th appearance and 8th start of the year. A 5-2 record and a 4.97 ERA. 50 2/3 innings pitched, 47 hits, 32 runs, 28 of them earned, 76 strikeouts versus 26 walks. A pretty good strikeout to walk ratio there. Opposing batters hitting .246 against Jacobs.
Yeah, that 76 strikeouts and 50 2/3 makes for a 13.5 K per 9, which leads the Pac-12. He's 5th in total strikeouts, despite just throwing those 50 2/3. So this is a guy that's going to get a lot of swings and misses, which is what Matt Scott got in the first inning. He struck out 3 guys. Problem was the couple of walks, the wild pitches, the error, of course, on the throw to the throw to third base off of Becerra's glove, and you give up 3 runs.
So Arizona State with 3 on the board before Stanford even picks up the bat. However, the Sun Devils have struggled mightily in the pitching department. More on that as we go, but we begin with Owen Cobb stepping up to the box. Cobb, the grad student from Seattle, slashing .319, .365, .530, 7 home runs and 31 RBI. First pitch, fastball outside for ball 1 to Cobb. Cobb, Stanford's leader in at-bats, hits, triples, and total bases. He's been productive at the top of the lineup. Was productive at the bottom of the lineup for much of his career coming into this year. That fastball misses maybe just a little bit low. 2-0 to Cobb.
Yeah, riding a 12-game hitting streak. And I got a feeling, Troy, with the way these offenses have produced and the struggles of the pitching staffs both ways, that 3 runs probably not enough to win this one.
I'd be surprised. I'll give you Arizona State's pitching numbers here in a moment. As Jacobs misses again, 3-0. Arizona State, team ERA of 6.80. Team whip of 1.76. Both of those 11th in the Pac-12. A reminder that the Pac-12 is an 11-team league in baseball. And that ball just bounced back to Campos. Cobb walks on 4 pitches.
Yeah, this might be a situation. You just keep the bat on your shoulder until he proves he can throw a strike. He didn't come close there.
Brings up Ethan Hott. He's from the Valley of the Sun, Paradise Valley. The sophomore from Chaparral High School. Hott slashing .325, .399, .398. No home runs and 11 RBI as Jacobs deals his first strike of the evening. Arizona State, actually coming into the day as a pitching staff, led the Pac-12 in strikeouts, but they're 10th in strikeout to walk ratio. Last in the Pac-12 in walks. So an intriguing dichotomy there, and one that Stanford is in a similar situation as well. The numbers quite similar in those respects for the Cardinal too.
Yeah, I mean, they're 3rd in strikeouts, and they give up the 2nd most walks, Stanford. So, to your point, Troy.
Popped up, not playable.
Going to hit the top here.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's the thud as it bounces off the roof of the press box.
Have you been here for a game where the ball has entered the press box on the fly?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
3 times, I believe.
Wow.
They all went to the opposite side of the press box from where we are right now. The 1-2, opposite field, fouled off. So the KZSU kids and our man Tyler Guyvette, the sports information director, that kind of seems to be the hot zone for foul balls that enter the press box.
Yeah.
One ball, 2 strikes with Cobb at first. Swing and a miss. Hott goes down on strikes. So Jacobs walks the first batter he faces. Strikes out the second.
That sounds about right, Troy.
Here's Court McDonald, one of 3 lefties in the Stanford batting 9. McDonald, a sophomore from Arlington, Texas. And on the year, a team-high .333 average, .406 on base, .429 slugging, 3 home runs and 27 RBI. McDonald with 18 multi-hit games entering this series.
We got a bee buzzing around the press box.
Might have been the same one that was buzzing in on my conversation with Arizona State broadcaster Tim Healy before the game. I don't think Tim likes bees very much.
Okay. Tim's a legend, man.
He is. He is.
You think Arizona State, you think Tim Healy. Doug Tamro, a lot of good people over there.
Yeah. Doug's the man. The 1-0. Goes up and sends this one into center field. Jackson has a long way to go, loses his hat, but makes the catch on the run. 2 away.
It kind of looked like an excuse me swing from Court McDonald, and he just kind of ran into it. Still had some pretty good contact for that kind of swing.
Here's Malcolm Moore, sophomore from Sacramento. Moore hitting .247, team high 13 home runs and 30 RBI. Also, despite hitting just .247, leads Stanford with a .413 on-base percentage.
He walks a lot.
Yep.
38 to be exact.
Cobb at first after walking on 4 pitches that weren't particularly close. I hear a lot of cheering over at the softball stadium right now. Stanford was down 2-0 to Utah last I checked, but that was before the game started.
Well,
so it could be anything right now.
Someone just walked, according to live stats for Stanford. They got a runner on first with 1 out, trailing 2-0. This is the semifinals of the Pac-12 softball tournament.
Yeah. Stanford trying to make it into tomorrow's final.
Either way, they should be hosting regional rounds. Had another nice season under Jessica Allister.
Off the fists, in the air, shallow left. Vu with Andina coming in as well, but neither of them get there. So that drops in for the first base hit, and Cobb's all the way over at third.
That's always a tough one to judge. Felt like maybe that could have been Vu's play to make coming in from left, but yeah, those are tough ones to judge, especially when you're battling the sun at this hour.
Jimmy Natai, the sophomore from Sydney, Australia. Team high 34 RBI. He's hitting .316 with 6 home runs. Also a team high slugging percentage of .540. And Natai with the 2 home runs that he hit in the bottom of the 5th against Cal 2 weeks ago. One of the highlights of the season. Campos has to roll over to try to catch that one. Ball 1.
He's been hot as of late, hitting .333 over his last 10 games to bump that average up to .316.
The 1-0. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball just tailed outside 1-1.
Yeah, he was in front of that.
Stanford and Arizona State, a series that has gone decisively in the Cardinals' favor over the years. Stanford's won 16 of the last 19. A trend that dates back to the 2017 season. Jacobs misses there, not by much, 2-1.
I know Arizona State, the vast majority of their glory days are in the past, but still, 16 out of 19, that's tough to do against a program as good as Arizona State.
Yeah, that's significant.
Yeah.
The 2-1. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, 2-2.
And they haven't won here since 2016. Now you have, one of the even years was COVID, so you take that out. You only come here every other year, but still, it's a long time.
And they're usually pretty tough to beat at home, are the Sun Devils.
Yeah.
The 2-2 pitch. Low, ball 3. Throw down to second. The throw back home. Got him. The throw beat Cobb home, and the side is retired. 3-0. Arizona State with the lead after 1 here on Stanford Livestream. Great to have you with us on a fantastic evening here at Sunken Diamond. Arizona State with a 3-0 lead as we begin the top of the 2nd inning. The 8-9-1 batters due up for Arizona State after Scott needed 39 pitches to retire 3 batters in the top half of the first. Mario DeMera is the batter for the Sun Devils. DeMera, a senior from right here in the Bay, just up the street, as Scott throws a first pitch strike right down Palm Drive. DeMera from Burlingame, California, transferred from the University of San Francisco, was West Coast Conference all-first team last year. That fastball misses high for ball one.
Yeah, one of a couple of Dawn transfers on this team that came over from USF last year from the Hilltop. Harris Williams, a second-team All-WCC member. He started 37 games for the Sun Devils this year, Harris. He's not in the lineup right now.
2-1 after that one misses high. DeMera on the season is batting .258, 1 home run, 23 RBI. 2-1. Fastball, swing and a miss, 2-2. DeMera, all-conference first team in the West Coast Conference last year, was all West Coast Conference honorable mention the year before that. He's facing the 2-2. Swing and a miss. DeMera goes down on strikes.
93. So 4 outs, 4 strikeouts.
That's the good news.
Yeah. 0 earned runs, sort of good news.
Yeah.
3 unearned runs, not great news.
2 wild pitches, leading to Arizona State's 3 runs so far in this one as Steven Ondina comes to the plate. That one is a high strike called to Ondina. Steven is a senior from Puerto Rico, transferred from Florida International. Has 14 multi-hit games entering this series as Scott finds the corner again, 0-2. Ondina hitting .292, 4 home runs, 21 RBI.
Florida, of course, a state that Stanford baseball is going to get familiar with next year.
A little bit.
Miami, Florida State.
In the air, ranging over into foul ground, Larson makes the catch, 2 away.
It brings up a question I have for you, Troy, and feel free to take as much time as you need. Favorite color scheme for an ACC school? You can't say Stanford.
Oh.
Hey, come on, outside of Stanford.
Hey, Pitt's got some pretty clean uniforms.
Okay.
I'll go with the Panthers there as far as a knee-jerk reaction.
Fair enough. Another school you worked with.
I have other thoughts. We'll get those as we go along here. Ryan Campos struck out looking on a high strike called back in the first inning. And he fouls off the first pitch here. He's down 0-1. I don't know who thought purple and orange was a suitable color combination, but if that's how the folks at Clemson roll, hey, knock yourself out.
I have an embarrassing statement to make after this.
Tails inside, 1-1.
All right, I was Trevor Lawrence is their starting quarterback years old when I realized that wasn't blue, that was purple for Clemson. I've been watching college sports my entire life.
Maybe your brain was trying to skew it towards blue. Foul tip, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I like it for the Phoenix Suns. I want to say I like that. It's a deeper purple that the Suns have than Clemson.
Of course, the Suns seem to have deeper problems right now than their color combination. That's
true story.
Whole different conversation. Scott tries the fastball inside, doesn't get the call, 2-2.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the green and orange of the U.
That's become pretty classic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Two balls and 2 strikes. Pulls this one well foul. And look, I'm a fan of maybe more distinct color combinations. Orange and green, certainly something that you don't see every day.
Yep,
Purple
here.
and orange is something you don't see every day either, but I think because there's a reason for that. It's kind of hard to pull off. So I admire the orange and green of Miami. The Carolina blue.
Yeah, I like that one too.
That can look pretty clean. The 2-2. Fouled off again. Of course, I'm trying to remember which ACC opponents come this way on the men's side for basketball. I know Stanford heads out to North Carolina and Duke. The NC State women come out this way. Gee, I wonder what the big subplot of that game could be.
That'll be nice. 2
balls and 2 strikes to Campos. Foul back. Another marathon at bat for Campos. This time the count staying at 2-2 as of right now. Wake Forest is a home and home next year on the men's side for hoops.
Road games: Clemson, Duke, Georgia Tech, Louisville, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Pittsburgh for men's basketball.
Yeah, shocker, North Carolina and Duke couldn't be bothered to get on the plane and come out this way. I can't believe that didn't happen. 2-2. Bounces to Moore. I did like the dig that new Setsuko Ishiyama, director of women's basketball, Kate Pay, got in during her press conference, her introductory press conference last month, when she was talking about traveling in the ACC, and she said, some folks are going to complain about, getting on a plane and coming out this way once every other year. I like that dig.
Yeah.
Fair territory. Scott to first in time for the out. 3 up, 3 down. Arizona State up by 3. Bottom second in just a moment. 3-0 as we begin the bottom of the second inning. Arizona State with the lead. And we continue Jimmy Natai's at bat that ended when Owen Cobb was thrown out trying to steal home. So a clean slate for Natai and Ben Jacobs here. First pitch in this go-around from Jacobs is high and outside for ball 1. Natai has had some big moments this season. The 1-0. Fouled back, 1-1.
By the way, just to update softball, Stanford got a run across, down 2-1, bottom of the 7th, last inning of regulation. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 0-2 count. So, high drama across the way.
Okay. 1 ball, 1 strike. Skips off of Campos' glove, but no one's on the base path, so no harm done. Count goes to 2-1. So if you want to flip over to, that's on the deuce, right, I believe?
Yeah, semis on the deuce.
Semis and final on the deuce,
yeah.
I believe. 2-1. In the air, fouled, heading towards the Diamond Terrace. And the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Natai stepping back into the box. 2-2. Got him. Waves at the tailing fastball. And that is the second strikeout dealt by Jacobs.
Yeah, sometimes your eyes just widen up. You see the high cheese, but kind of chase something out of the zone there.
Brings up Brandon Larson, the sophomore from Rockland, California, the transfer from UC San Diego. Larson hitting .294, 4 home runs and 17 driven in. One of 3 lefties in the Stanford lineup. McDonald and Moore are the others. We've seen them before.
He's made a couple of nice plays defensively already, though. The one screamer hit that he snagged on one hop. And as that one's fouled off, then the throw on the slow chopper down the first base line that was made by Matt Scott was not easy to dig out.
No.
And he made a really nice play with his glove there.
Yeah, it was about shin high.
Yeah.
The 1-1. Right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Larson. Stanford trying to halt a 3-game losing streak. Would love to take game 1 of the series. Off the fist, foul back. Count stays at 1-2.
Yeah, that one was going to Julia Lee.
Think so.
Yeah.
She looked ready for it.
She had her left hand up. Yep.
Julia Lee does a fantastic job.
Indeed.
masterminding all the fan experience stuff here at Sunken Diamond.
Vet in the game.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Hit high in the air to center field. Going back, Jackson has a track on it. Makes the catch just shy of the track. 2 gun.
We got a guy sitting to our left who's got an Isaiah Jackson Arizona State T-shirt
Okay.
on. And 24 cap.
Okay.
So an Isaiah Jackson fan of some sort. There's a lot to like about his defense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's a fun player to watch.
Yeah.
Jake Sapien is the designated hitter for the Cardinal tonight, the junior out of Atwater, California. Sapien hitting .250 on the year. No home runs, 8 driven in. Was feeling a bit under the weather last week during the trip down to Tucson, but okay and good to go for this week.
Buhack Colony High, where he went to school. I've done a high school football game there.
Wow.
When I was covering the Serra Padres in San Mateo, they made a trip down there, won the game by going for 2 instead of going to OT, 1-1.
I like it. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's Turlock way, right? Out in that direction somewhat?
Yeah. Somewhat. I kind of get lost in that part of California.
Yeah, that's okay. A lot of folks do.
Yeah. Yeah, this is 2012.
The 1-1. Tails outside from Jacobs, 2-1.
There is some Arizona State Serra connections. Barry Lamar Bonds being one of them, and Hunter Bishop, who was drafted Major League Baseball out of Arizona State. He was their starting quarterback for the football team as well.
Fastball gets the outside corner called, 2-2. Serra High School, an athletic program of some note that's turned out a couple of decent ball players you might have heard of over the years.
One of their alums got roasted on Netflix recently.
We probably can't repeat
No.
99.5% of the content
No.
of that roast of Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
Yeah, his name, I think, was the only thing we can say on the air.
3-2 count. Payoff pitch. Misses somewhere, maybe just a bit low. Sapien coaxes the walk. It's the first full count that Jacobs has dealt with, but the second walk that he's issued. Trevor Haskins, the junior from San Jose Valley Christian.
Same league as Serra. WCAL.
Haskins hitting .292, slugging .503, 6 home runs and 27 RBI.
And half of those home runs have come over the last 10 games, where he's driven in 8 during that stretch.
Sapien at first after walking and snagged by Campos, but Haskins not going anywhere. Haskins just 1 for 3 in stolen bases. Court McDonald by far has been the leader in that category, as this one is sent to right field. And coming up and making the catch after coming up a couple of steps is Nick McClain in right, and the side is retired. 2 innings in, Arizona State leading Stanford 3-0. Off we go, top of the 3rd inning, Arizona State leading Stanford 3-0. I'm Troy Clarity. He's Kevin Dannon. He's got the call of the 3rd and the 4th.
Thank you, Troy. Sun Devils 3 runs, 1 hit, no errors. Matt Scott has struck out 4. He's thrown 56 pitches through the first 2 innings, as he's getting ready to take on Kien Vu, Nick McClain, and Jacob Tobias. 2, 3, 4. All lefties, or at least all 3, will be batting from the left side on the batter's box here in the top of the 3rd, as that misses 1-0.
Scott, 56 pitches to go through the first 2 innings.
Yeah, not great pitch economy there. One fouled off. Some people concerned with pitch count more than others. I remember Mark Appel had a game where he threw 144 pitches here his last year. I'm sure some scouts were not exactly pleased to see that high of a number, but this is a chopper to second. Cobb has it and makes the play, one away. So that'll bring up Nick McLean, who did not homer Tuesday in the midweek loss to Arizona, and that snapped a stretch of 5 straight games of leaving the yard. Part of the reason he was named Pac-12 Player of the Week and the National Player of the Week. He, after his first inning single, has a 13-game hitting streak going now. Not too shabby for the 309 hitter. First offering to him. Catches the outside corner for strike one.
Of course, everyone lost their minds last year when Quinn Matthews threw 156 pitches in that postseason game.
Oh, yeah.
Even they pardoned the interruption the next day.
Missing outside. Fastball clocked at 92.
I go back to when Jason Young threw 10 innings and 167 pitches against Florida State in the College World Series back in '99.
That's in the dirt, 2-1. Look, I figure the pitching coaches and coaching staffs will forget more baseball than I'll ever know. So,
yep.
who am I to question? 2-1 to McLean. Singled and scored in the first. He goes opposite field here down the left field line. That's going to leave the yard. Sneaks over to the left field fence, and it's a solo shot from McLean, who has homered in 6 of his last 7 games now. That is his 10th of the season, and the Sun Devils lead 4-0.
Boy, McLean just kind of went up and got that one and just kind of muscled it out of the yard. And that's been what he has been able to do, especially of late. Won Pac-12 Player of the Week honors last week. He's playing in the early going like he wants to win it back-to-back.
This is the 17th straight game that Arizona State has hit a home run. And multi-home run games in 9 of their last 10 coming in as Tobias looks at ball 1. And this is the guy who leaves the yard most frequently for Arizona State with a team-high 13 dingers. Swing and a miss. He was looking for home run number 14 there. Struck out and scored in the first inning. Not something you say every day.
Yeah.
Of course, with reaching via the wild pitch. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball missing in, 2-1. Well, they have gone final over there at Boyd and Jill Smith. Pac-12 softball tournament semifinal. Utah holds on for the 2-1 victory. So Utah on to the championship game.
Again. Made it last year, to the shock and surprise of a bunch of folks. And then they beat UCLA in the championship last year. So Amy Hogan, her crew, back in the Pac-12 championship once again.
3-1 right up the middle. Oh, and it's booted by Haskins, and the throw not in time. And so that'll be an E6.
Well, and Haskins was expecting that ball.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Scott dodged it, he was in the right place for the most part.
Yep, he was right there. So, runner on first is Tobias with 1 out for Compton, who walked in the first inning. 4-0 ASU. 4 runs, 2 hits, no errors. No run, 1 hits, now 2 errors for the Cardinal. Scott comes home. This one lifted foul behind the Sun Devil dugout. Compton, a redshirt freshman who redshirted last year after undergoing UCL surgery after his high school career. Played summer ball last year in the Northwoods League. He was the Northwoods League All-Star, hitting .320 with 13 homers in 60 games. Here's the 0-1, misses outside.
Compton entering today on a 6-game hit streak and hitting .480 during that streak.
Ooh, yeah, it's pretty good.
12 of 25 has walked so far today.
There's the 1-1 lined into center. That'll get down in front of Hott. And there'll be runners on first and second. That's the third hit of the game, second hit of the inning for Arizona State following the solo shot from Nick McLean.
So now Compton hitting .500
13
during
26.
his 7-game hit streak.
Yeah, quite a few guys on hit streaks. We're mentioning the 13-game hit streak for McLean, of course. Compton now 7-game hit streak. Jacob Tobias has reached base in 17 straight. So here's Ethan Mendoza to the plate, making his 42nd start of the season. He had a scorcher to first, but it was gloved perfectly by Larson. RBI opportunity for a guy with 23 driven in this year. Mendoza hitting .320 and got pegged on the helmet. That was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Thankfully, there's a lot of padding inside that helmet, and that he's able to just trot on over to first. That's got to be a scary moment there for Ethan Mendoza.
Well, Mendoza heads to first. Now it's a scary moment for Scott. The bases are loaded with one out. Some warm-up tosses beginning in the Stanford bullpen. I believe that's Ryan Speciak.
Yeah, righty in there. Speciak's seen a lot of time out of the pen this year. He's made 14 appearances. Started a few times this year. He's made 4 starts. Isaiah Jackson now fouling this one back to the screen. The center fielder 0 for 1, struck out swinging to end the first inning, an inning in which Arizona State plated 3. Did not score in the second. They've scored 1 here in the third and threatening to score more with the bases juiced. Tobias on third, Compton on second, and Mendoza on first. This one popped up. Will it stay playable? Timo Becerra diving, and it lands just between Malcolm Moore and Timo Becerra. A little unfortunate there for the Cardinal.
Yeah, I think Moore might have had a better shot at that one.
I do too.
Because I think he had a more advantageous angle to try to attack that ball.
Yeah. That's a play potentially that could be costly there for the Cardinal. 0-2 the count. Scott, this will be a nice time for his 5th strikeout. Here's the 0-2 in the dirt. Good job there by Malcolm Moore. Keep that in front of him. Don't want another wild pitch. Trying to limit the damage to just 1 run surrendered here in the third. Here's the 1-2 from Scott to Jackson. Swung on and missed, and it's the second time he has got Jackson swinging his 5th strikeout of the game, and that is a big one.
Well, Scott usually at his most effective when he's able to mix pitches, mix speeds, change planes, and do all those things to keep opposing hitters off balance. By and large, he has been able to do that, but was able to pull that off on that pitch sequence to Jackson.
So here's DeMera, who started the second with a swinging strikeout. Mother Debbie played softball at Santa Clara, about 20 minutes south of here. This one lifted to right behind second base, and there's Owen Cobb to make the catch. And so good job by Matt Scott to get out of a bases-loaded one-out jam without any further damage done. There was the McLean solo shot, and that bumps the lead up to 4-0 for Arizona State here on the Stanford live stream. Bottom 3 here at Sunken. Really nice evening for some college baseball. Stanford trailing 4-0 against Arizona State. It'll be 9-1-2 here for the Cardinal. Timo Becerra will get his first hacks of the ball game. Becerra, the third baseman, junior from Clovis, making his 44th start, 45th appearance of the year as he takes the fastball on the outside corner for strike one, clocked at 90 mile an hour from Ben Jacobs, who has struck out 2 and has walked 2 and has given up 1 hit.
On 35 pitches.
This one slapped to second, diving stop, and some trouble with it there for Ethan Mendoza. It's going to be ruled an infield single. It was going to be a tough play to make.
Yep. Mendoza going to his knees and trying to corral it, and took 2 stabs at it trying to pick it up with his glove and came up empty both times.
Owen Cobb now, who walked and advanced to third in the first inning. An OPS of 898 after that walk for the grad student from Seattle. Big news for Seattle University today. Just announced that they're going to join the WCC along with Grand Canyon. I believe starting in 2025. So take strike one. Here's the 0-1. This one's fouled off. Now, Troy, you and I both worked at KZSU when we were students here. I don't know if they had the sports zoo when you were a student here, the Sports Talk Show.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a sports zoo about 15, 16 years ago when I was at the peak of my in love with low major Division I basketball, where I had like a 5-minute rant on why the WCC should add Seattle. They were independent D1 at the time. Cameron Dollar was the head coach, and today my dream came true.
Hey, you were just, 15, 20 years ahead of your time?
Yeah, yeah, it's just something like that. Here's the 0-2 to Cobb. He fouls it off.
Well, and, Grand Canyon, terrific men's basketball program.
Yeah.
Very good baseball program. They've certainly made the commitment to athletics.
Oh, yeah. Those basketball games there, they look like a party. Here's the 0-2 to Cobb, and this one's fouled off again. With Becerra first. Went off the top of the net, I believe, and then caught by a fan.
Yeah, I think that's my man Lars Ahlstrom making that that catch. John Lynch is giving him a little love.
Yeah, John Lynch in the house.
Yeah, John Lynch in the building.
GM of the Niners, of course, former Stanford athlete, as this one's popped up along the first base line and just out of the reach of Tobias. Probably one he would like to have back.
Yeah, he just lost that one.
Yeah. He is battling a little bit of the sun.
Yeah.
It goes shadow, sun, shadow, kind of where he was trekking. Might have made it a little more difficult for him.
But, yeah, congrats to Grand Canyon and congrats to Seattle U.
Yeah. The Red Hawks.
Very good men's soccer program over the years.
Yep. It's a good call. There's the 0-2 to Cobb. This one golfed to left. Vu took a couple of steps in, takes a couple of steps back, and makes the catch. So there's one out. WCC's done pretty well for itself in this round of conference realignment. Of course, they don't sponsor football, but you get Washington State and Oregon State. Now you get Grand Canyon, another school that's really committed to athletics, and Seattle U. Mentioned some of their success. So I like what the WCC is doing.
Yeah, so do I.
Here's Ethan Hott, who has the appropriately titled Hot in Here as his walk-up song from the great poet out of St. Louis, Nelly.
And the Olympic sports in the West Coast Conference over the years have done quite well.
They're on the rise.
I mean, obviously, basketball speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Soccer's put out some pretty good programs, both men's and women's. I'm sorry, on the women's side.
Low and into Hot. San Diego women's volleyball made the Final Four a couple of years ago. They beat Stanford here in the national quarterfinal round.
That's right.
Santa Clara women's volleyball made it to a Final Four in 2005. It's my freshman year of college here. They beat Stanford in the second round because Cynthia Barboza was hurt. Here's the count 1-1 to Hot. struck out swinging in the first. Becerra on first with one out here in the third. Oh, great glove there by Campos behind the dish to keep Becerra at first on that pitch in the dirt.
Not easy to do when you're trying to keep an eye on the runner at first base.
Yeah.
And the pitcher throws one about 53 feet.
Yeah. So here's the 2-1 to Hott. This one hit sharply to third. Good glove there from Demera, and that'll be a 5-4-3 double play. Got it on a short hop, and they turn two to end the third. So nobody stranded. They do get one runner to reach base, the infield single, but that is just about it for Becerra. So we've played three. It's 4-0 Arizona State as we head to the fourth at Sunken Diamond. 9-1-2 for the Sun Devils on Dina Campos Vu. Here as we start the top of the fourth, 4-0 Sun Devils. Head coach Willie Bloomquist is Matt Scott's on the bump for inning number 4. Strike one taken. 21 pitches for Scott in the third. He's at 77 entering the fourth. No one currently warming up. Appeared to be Speciak getting a few tosses in earlier. It's on Dina. Ropes this one right to Owen Cobb at second. One away. Gonna bring up Campos.
Yeah, and Speciak had been warming up because Scott had given up a solo home run and then allowed the next three batters to reach.
Yeah.
One in an error, a single, and then a hit by pitch. So the bases were loaded with one out, but Scott was able to find a way out of there and not allow any of those runs to score after the home run.
Campos, first team All Pac-12er last year when he hit .388. Hit .357 as a freshman. Pac-12 honorable mention, All-America honors that year as he pops this one up. Foul down the third base line. Becerra underneath it, and Timo makes the catch. So quickly 2 away. And 3 pitches, 2 outs. Here in the fourth for Scott. He's just given up 1 earned run. It was the solo shot to McLean, who is on deck. McLean 2 for 2. Kien Vu 0 for 1 with a walk and a ground out to Owen Cobb over at second in the third inning. It's the first pitch to Vu. The San Diego native ropes it foul to Point Loma High in San Diego. Preseason All-America, All-Region second-team selection for his travel ball exploits. Here's the 0-1. This one is fouled off.
A-State's starting to swing a bit more freely here.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a really patient approach, especially the first inning. Count is 0-2 to Vu. Could be a quick inning here for Matt Scott. This one's hit deep to left center. And that's going to be off the wall and played off a hop by Ethan Hott. It'll be a stand-up double for Kien Vu. So another extra base hit for Arizona State. Talked about their 81 home runs coming in, 82 now. They also lead the Pac-12 with 122 doubles now. They have more than 130 extra base hits. No, more than 210 extra base hits, excuse me. Just forgetting the home runs. Here's Nick McLean, who left the yard last time up. 13-game hit streak's got his average up to 314 now. He had 298 as an All Pac-12 honorable mention selection last year as a redshirt sophomore. Transfer from UCLA where he did not play in 2022. Pops this one foul, and it's 1-1. A swarm of kids go to chase the foul ball. There's maybe like 10 to 12 kids just went racing after that one.
With about 20 more to follow.
Yeah. Nothing like getting a foul ball when you're a kid. Used to make my day going to the park. Here's the 1-1. And McClain takes that one inside in the dirt. Good job there by Malcolm Moore. Runner on second, 2 down. Arizona State looking to pad the edge a little bit more.
Speciak back warming in the Stanford bullpen.
This will be pitch 87 for Matt Scott. 10th pitch of the inning. And it could be the last one, or is this? Yeah, this is going to stay inside the park. Right before the warning track is where Court McDonald catches it. And that'll take us to the bottom of the 4th. So no damage done in the road half of the inning as we head to the home half. Stanford trailing 4-0. See if Stanford can crack the Ben Jacobs code here in the bottom of the 4th. He's given up just 2 hits and 2 walks through the first 3 innings as Court McDonald steps in and takes ball 1. Kevin Dana, Troy Clarity with you. I'll be with you all weekend here at Sunken Diamond for the last home series ever in Pac-12 play for Stanford baseball as they head off to the ACC. They have a pretty good baseball conference.
A little bit. Couple programs of note.
Yep.
Miami and Florida State immediately come to mind.
Yeah. Here's the 2-0 to McDonald, and this one is hit deep to right center. Jackson is there, and he makes the play before the warning track. So 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Sun Devils trying to stay on the right side of 500 overall and in conference play. 18-12 at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, the Tempe-based club. And our guy Troy Clarity has been all over the Pac-12, and he's a big breakfast food guy. So we're going to put him on the hot seat, best breakfast food spot in Tempe.
Well, in Tempe. Okay.
Or all right, I'll let you take greater Phoenix area.
Matt's Big Breakfast. That's the spot.
Okay. Breaking ball for strike 1. Is that in Phoenix? Or?
They've got a few locations all around the area. They used to have one in Tempe right across the street from Sun Devil Stadium.
Oh, okay.
And like a development over there. But I guess that one closed at some point between the last time I was there. But they do have them maybe 5 or 6 locations, and they've got one somewhere on the east side where I went to last time I was there.
Okay.
Hits the spot. Does the job every time.
Malcolm Moore behind the count 0-2. He's 1 for 1 with a single, and he takes strike 3. So,
boy, that was a filthy pitch sequence from Jacobs.
It certainly was.
As Moore had no idea that breaking ball was coming at the end of it.
So, 3rd strikeout for Ben Jacobs. Now, are you someone who you find one thing on the menu you like and you stick to it every time you go there, or are you more adventurous?
Depends on my mood.
Okay.
You know,
when it comes to Matt's Big Breakfast, do you have one go-to there?
I'd have to think about that. Let me see. Did I take a picture of my breakfast last time I was there? Hang on. Let me get through my camera roll here a second. Give me a moment.
We'll get back to you, folks, as Nat Eye looks at strike 1.
I can tell you that the best breakfast spot overall in the Pac-12 footprint, and our friends in Tempe will probably not appreciate this.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Baja Cafe in Tucson.
Oh, okay. Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't know where you're going with that. I thought you were going to go with another Big 12 bound school, the Buff, in Boulder.
They're second place.
Okay. Here's the 1-1, swung on and missed.
All right, I found it.
Okay.
Looks like I went with a spinach
Ooh, yeah.
Bacon omelet of some sort. Hash browns.
Hash browns, yeah. Ooh.
Big toast, sourdough toast.
Yeah, that looks good. It's the 1-2 missing outside to Nadi. The Cardinal trying to extend this inning.
So, yeah, there's the before picture,
Yeah.
and there's the after.
Oh,
This is great video, by the way, since you guys can't see it.
Inside corner, strike 3 called. A couple of strikeouts in the 4th for Ben Jacobs as he makes quick work of the Cardinal in the 4th. We'll come back with the top of the 5th. Arizona State still leading 4-0. All right, 4-0 Arizona State leading as we head to the top of the 5th, and back with the PXP is Troy Clarity.
Thank you, Kevin. 3 in the first for the Sun Devils, 1 in the third. None across so far for the Cardinal, with Matt Scott still on the mound for Stanford. Has thrown 87 pitches. Has struck out 5 and walked 2. Fly ball well fouled to Jacob Tobias to begin the top half of the 5th inning. Tobias struck out in the first, but reached on a wild pitch that Malcolm Moore fielded, threw over to third instead of going to first with it, and Timo Becerra couldn't hang on to it. High fly ball, deep right center field, and it is out of here. Over the brand spanking new scoreboard, and another solo shot for the Sun Devils. It's 5-0 ASU.
Well, team leading 14th home run, good for 6th in the Pac-12. Figures only a matter of time where he left the yard. And so now Arizona State's had multiple home run games. At least in 10 of their last 11, they've hit at least 2 home runs. And 17 straight with at least 1 home run. It's raking.
398 feet over the right center field fence. Tobias. And a big swing and a miss. Compton looked like he was trying to add on to that total with that swing and a miss. Compton walked in the first and singled in the third. The 0-1, the Scots working quickly. And Compton muscles this one, plunks it down, and it rolls a long way. Finally scooped up just before the track, but Compton is in with a stand-up double.
Yeah, he was thinking 2 the whole way. And, yeah, more activity. Imagine that Speciak. Yeah, I believe I see 30 out there. Warming up. You wonder as he approaches 100 pitches, he's given up back-to-back extra base hits, how much longer the leash is here for Matt Scott.
Third time through the order.
Yeah.
Mendoza was hit on the helmet by a pitch in the third inning, but he is okay. He is at the plate right now for his latest plate appearance. Fouls it back, 0-1.
Yeah, that's about as graceful as I've seen anyone take a 92-mile-an-hour fastball to the helmet. Brush that off pretty quickly.
At that point, that loaded the bases with 1 out, but Arizona State was not able to push any of those runners across. 0-1. Ball blocked by Mendoza, but Compton not going anywhere. Mendoza enters the series on a 10-game hit streak, hitting .467 over that span. The freshman from Bedford, Texas.
South Lake Carola High School, that is a big-time high school.
Yes, it is. 1-1. Waves goes around 1-2. Couldn't resist the high fastball there. Yeah, Bedford, Texas, in between Dallas and Fort Worth. I believe it shades a little closer to the Fort Worth side.
Okay.
They take high school sports a little seriously back there. Just a little, teeny bit. The 1-2 pitch goes down, golfs this one down the line, and foul.
Yeah, not foul by much.
Well,
Very
and it
close.
Bounced over Gary DeFabio, the third base umpire's head, and landed behind him. So he couldn't see where the ball landed. Best umpire to have a look at it was Jeff Heinrichs behind the plate and looking right at it down the line.
Yeah, That was really, really close. Stanford fortunate there. Could have been 6-0.
So the count stays at 1-2. In the air to center field, going back is Cobb. Coming in is Natai, and Cobb gets there to make the grab.
Yeah, basket catch there from Cobb. Not easy to do. That was a nice grab. But you're talking about the seriousness of Texas high school sports, or Cal football radio crew. My Golden Bears, mind you, Troy. So the first game of the season was at North Texas this year.
Yes, it was.
They stayed right by Jerry World. And apparently, there's a high school football facility there, and it's just game after game after game on a Friday night. And apparently, the facilities, as you would imagine, top notch.
Just a little bit. That'll do it for Matt Scott. As Scott goes 4 1/3. And the new pitcher, Ryan Speciak, coming in for the Cardinal. We'll tell you more about him in just a moment. Arizona State ahead 5-0, top of the 5th on Stanford Livestream. Matt Scott gives way to Ryan Speciak, 5-0 Arizona State. Top half of the 5th inning continues. Arizona State with a runner at second and Brandon Compton that Scott is responsible for. Speciak, a freshman from Goleta, California, 6'1", 199. About to make his 15th appearance of the year. Does have 4 starts this season. A record of 0-3, ERA of 7.71, 24 strikeouts, 22 walks, and 25 2/3 innings worth of work. Opposing batters hitting .230 against Speciak.
Two-time Channel League MVP out of Dos Pueblos High, Santa Barbara area.
Brandon Compton at second after doubling following Jacob Tobias's home run to lead off the 5th.
And Isaiah Jackson probably happy he's not seen Matt Scott struck out swinging twice.
Yep, Jackson 0 for 2 on the evening. Speciak checks on Compton. Speciak's last outing came last week, a week ago today. In the series opener at Arizona, went 2/3, gave up a hit, a run, it was earned, walked 2, struck out 2, and threw 2 wild pitches. He's ahead in the count here, 0-2 on Jackson.
That was part of a 12-8 loss. Stanford had cut that to 9-8, that deficit after the top of the 6th. Arizona struck for 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 8th. Part of that 4-run victory.
No balls, 2 strikes. 91-mile-an-hour fastball, high and a bit outside as well. 1-2 to Jackson, who had a monster start to the season. Hit 3 home runs and drove in 13 in the first 4 games of the year.
3 hits on opening day.
Speciak misses high, loses his hat after the follow-through, 2-2. Matt Scott, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, hit a batter, threw 2 wild pitches, and threw 96 pitches overall. Of course, you can't close the book on him until Compton at second either scores or is retired. The 2-2 pitch. Fouled back. Boy, Speciak really took something off of that one.
Yeah.
Gave a little bit of movement, too.
His fastball's sitting around 91. That one clocked at 78.
Two and two. Plunk some smack on the elbow pad.
You're reading the numbers from Speciak. Another one. That's his another hit by pitch. He's also tied for 5th with 7 wild pitches. Obviously, that wasn't one, but now 2 runners on.
Oh, and David Esker wants the umpires to confer notes and maybe take a second and closer look and discern whether Jackson truly made a move to get out of the way of the pitch. So they'll head to the monitor and the headset and look at a few things. In the meantime, elsewhere around the Pac-12, but who would have thought that it would be Arizona and Utah deciding who is in the driver's seat in the Pac-12 this late in the season? But that's where we are. And, oh, by the way, the Wildcats and the Utes playing each other this week. Utah, big 6-1 win over Arizona earlier today. That might have been a very, very early start, maybe an 11 a.m. Mountain Time first pitch in Salt Lake City. But Utah was wide awake as they beat the Wildcats 6-1. Games in progress right now. Washington State leading USC 9-3 up in Pullman. Top sixth over in Berkeley. Cal leading San Jose State 5-4. And the call does stand. So Jackson does stay at first. Compton remains at second. That wasn't a real question. And Mario Demera steps up to the plate. End of two in Corvallis. The Beavers lead the Bruins 1-0. And the Ducks leading Washington 3-0, bottom third in Seattle. Demera struck out to begin the second. And then popped out to second to end the third. Looks at a breaking ball strike from Speciak here.
So with that win for Utah, they're now just a game back of Arizona for first in the Pac-12.
Demera down quickly, 0-2.
And I believe it was the 2016 season where Utah went from worst in the conference to first.
Yes.
And like them and Utah, or them and Washington were fighting for first place. And they were both like picked to finish in the bottom third of the conference. And just a wild, wild finish to the regular season. Utah won the league. I think they won 21-17 on the last day of the regular season.
Stays in foul ground on a couple of hops to Becerra. Throws to second, and that's all the Cardinal get. Compton heads over to third. Demera safe at first, with Jackson erased at second.
And that was also right around the time that Leicester City won the Premier League. I remember there was an article in either Deseret News or Salt Lake Trib comparing Utah baseball to Leicester City. That's what I used to do for the Pac-12 Link Roundup for 6.5 years.
Here's Steven Ondina. 0 for 2 so far today. A fly out and a line out. Runners at the corners. 1 in so far for the Sun Devils in this frame. With 2 out and Speciak dealing. Runner heads down to second on a bounce, and now the throw home, and Compton is erased. Stanford ready for that one, but the Sun Devils tack on one more. Jacob Tobias goes deep. Solo shot makes it 5-0 ASU. Stanford with work to do as we begin the bottom half of the fifth. Arizona State leading the Cardinal 5-0. Begins with Brandon Larson in the 6th spot for the Cardinal. Larson flew out to center back in the second inning. And Stanford has not had much, just a couple of base hits, a couple of walks, and that's it. Jacobs hasn't allowed that much. Got the last 2 batters in the 4th inning to strike out looking in rather impressive fashion. Larson tags this one high, could be playable, a long way to go, and making the catch right at the bullpen fence. Nick McLean had a long way to go, but was able to bring it in. 1 gone.
That was skied. I mean, the exit angle 53 degrees on that. That was way up there. I was kind of shocked that it stayed playable.
Jake Sapien to the plate. Sapien walked in the second inning. Well high and outside for ball 1. Matt Scott's final line, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 5 runs. Just 2 of them earned, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. The 1-0. Fastball from Jacobs, a little bit high. 2-0.
It just felt like that strikeout, wild pitch, air, kind of just symbolized the night. There's a lot of good things that Matt Scott did, but then some of it his own doing, and also not getting a lot of help as well.
Swing and miss on the fastball. Count goes to 2-1.
Does lower his ERA from 5.35 to 5.27, but on the hook for the L unless Stanford can come back.
That one misses just down low, 3-1. So yeah, Arizona and Utah, 1-2 right now in the Pac-12 standings. That's certainly a surprise. As the 3-1 is on the way to Sapien, foul tip. And the count goes to 3-2. Seems like the top spot in the conference has kind of been played hot potato a little bit between Arizona and Oregon State, and Oregon in particular, with Utah lurking in the distance. Payoff pitch from Jacobs to Sapien. Ball 4. Sapien hangs in there, coaxes the walk, Jacobs third of the night.
And Sapien second. No official at-bat for him yet.
Brings up Trevor Haskins. Haskins has been producing runs for the Cardinal of late. 3 home runs, 8 RBI in his last 10 games entering this series. That's a hot shot down the line, a fair ball that bounces off of Tobias. Throw to second, not in time. Everybody's safe.
Yeah, it was a play you don't see every day. Good effort there by Tobias. Kind of took a tough hop for him. And Sapien, he had to check first because thought that might have been caught initially.
Yep.
So he tagged up essentially, and then got his way over to second base.
Willie Bloomquist requesting a further and more detailed interpretation from home plate umpire Jeff Heinrichs. As it is, it's a single for Haskins and 2 on for the Cardinal. Stanford had 2 on in the first inning, but Owen Cobb was caught stealing 2-4-2 to end that first inning. Stanford hasn't managed much offensively since then. Until now. Bounces. Campos with a little bit of a elbow check to Becerra to get a little bit of room. Becerra with the single in the third.
Physical play there from Campos.
Hey, it's May baseball, man.
Yeah.
Count goes to 2-0 on Becerra. Two balls, no strikes. 2 on for the Cardinal. The pitch. Fastball outside corner called 2-1.
I mean, you're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the season. I mean, these teams, Stanford and Arizona State, figure to have to win the Pac-12 tournament to get to a regional. And play your best ball heading to Scottsdale.
2-2.
Which I must say is perfect setting for a Pac-12 baseball tournament. I mean, you got all the spring training fields over there.
But by all accounts, has been a fantastic host. Count full to Becerra. Third full count by Jacobs. The other 2 were to Sapien, and both of those resulted in walks. Matter of fact, Sapien's at second right now. Haskins at first after an infield single. The 3-2 pitch. Got him. Big out. 2 away.
Yeah, crank that one up a notch. Usually Jacobs has been around 91. That up to 92 miles an hour. 72 pitches through 4 2/3 for him.
It's Owen Cobb. Walked in his first plate appearance, thrown out at home to end the first inning, and then flew out to left in the third. That pitch low and inside to Cobb, with runners at first and second and 2 out. Arizona State, their last NCAA appearance was back in 2021. They made the Austin Regional, beat Fairfield, lost to Texas, then was eliminated by Fairfield again. And Arizona State tied for 5th in the Pac-12. They won 33 games that year, but that wasn't good enough for then head coach Tracy Smith to keep his job. In fact, then athletics director Ray Anderson said the program was, quote, mediocre. So that's why Willie Bloomquist is here as the head coach for Arizona State. Cobb fouls that one off, 2-1.
Look, when you're a program that's won 5 NCAA titles, you've been to 22 College World Series, and it's been since 2010 since their last one. The expectations are high in Tempe.
I think it's a little bit fair to set the bar maybe a little bit higher than maybe at most places.
Yeah.
In Tempe. Similar for Stanford, too.
Yep.
2 balls and 1 strike. Goes around 2-2. Looks like Cobb maybe tried to hold off on that one at the very last instant, but had already committed to it.
He had Owen looking pretty uncomfortable there.
Cobb on a 12-game hit streak. Reaches out, fouls that one off again.
He's going to have at least one more plate appearance after this one to try to extend it to 13.
In 2020, Arizona State was 13-4, and they were a consensus top 10 team before the season was scuttled due to COVID. The 2-2 pitch. Now the count full once again.
That's the all-time what-if year. And for me, the biggest what-if in college athletics that year, there was an NCAA tournament. I think Oregon women's basketball was winning the national
was thinking the exact same thing. And I agree with you.
Sabrina Ionescu in her senior year, I think it was inevitable.
Runners going. Cobb swings and misses, strike 3. Stanford gets 2 on, but can't push any of them across. Frustrating afternoon and evening so far for the Cardinal as the Sun Devils lead 5-0 after 5. Top of the 6th inning, beginning here on a gorgeous evening at Sunken Diamond, 6-0. Check that 5-0 Arizona State with the lead in the 6th. Kevin Dana with the call of the 6th and the 7th.
Thank you, Troy. As the Sun Devils will go 9-1-2 here on Dina Campos Vu. Going up against Speshak, he's retired 2 batters, the only 2 he has faced. And Ondina takes a fastball high and inside. Ondina 0 for 2. Fouled out to first, lined out to second in the 2nd and 4th innings, respectively. And he turns on one, cranks it foul into the Sun Devil bullpen. Count 1-1 to Ondina from Puerto Rico. Transfer from FIU, Florida International, the Panthers. Down there in the Miami area. Here's the 1-1, well inside on an off-speed pitch from Speshak.
And Speshak can give you some innings in middle relief.
This one fouled off.
Through 3 innings against UNLV back in February. Gave Stanford 2 against Texas Tech out in Lubbock on April the 1st.
And really, Troy, that's what you want out of Speshak here. Save your bullpen for the rest of the weekend.
Yep.
Get you through some innings. Even if you give up a run or 2, just try to keep this somewhat close and not wear down the rest of your bullpen arms for Saturday and Sunday. The count is 2-2 to Ondina. Just gets a piece of that and might have gotten a piece of our home plate umpire, Jeff Heinrichs, who's doubled over. Let me check on Heinrichs. I did not see where it hit him.
certainly, I think it hit him smack perhaps on the forehead, which of course is covered by a mask, but still you're gonna feel that.
Yeah. A member of Stanford's training staff checking in on our home plate umpire. And he's going to stay out there. Gets a nice golf clap from the crowd. Thankfully, he's okay, or at least well enough to continue. Count. The live stats says 3-2.
Yeah, I believe it is 3-2, and Heinrichs does signal it's 3-2.
Okay, yeah. There we go. Counts full. Here's the payoff pitch to Ondina. High and tight, ball 4. So Ondina reaches base for the first time, and that'll bring up Ryan Campos, who's 0 for 3.
Speciak also went 4 1/3 against Sacramento State on April 16th. Threw 76 pitches that evening, so he can take you a long ways in middle relief.
It's part of a 12-8 win for the Cardinal. Campos takes that pitch outside. Struck out, grounded out, and fouled out. For the Sun Devil catcher. There's ball 2. No activity in the Cardinal pen. I hope Speciak can take him through a couple innings at least here. Here's the 2-0, and it is fouled off over the Arizona State dugout and takes a big carom. Yeah, that might have hit a kid.
It hit somebody.
Yeah, there's a big crowd. There's the 2-1 with Ondina on first. He's going. High chopper to second. Cobb, tough hop, makes the play. That was nicely done by Owen. But with the runner going, Ondina, there was no play but to make the one at first. And, yeah, there's a bigger crowd. A couple of redcoats over by where a fan got hit by that foul ball. Hopefully whoever got hit is going to be okay. So here's Kien Vu showing bunt, lays it down the third base line. It is tailing foul. And just does roll foul. Vu gave it a ride down the third base line.
Boy, that was a lot closer for a lot longer than it had any right to be.
Yeah, Becerra taking the calculated risk, and it paid off. Vu is walked and doubled. He's 1 for 2, also grounding out in the third inning. A left fielder behind the count, 0-1 to Speciak. Fastball missing in. Fastball at 88.
By the way, this is Arizona State's last crack at Pac-12 play this weekend. They'll host a couple against Texas Tech next weekend, a Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday against UNLV. So this is their last Pac-12 series.
Yeah, with there being 11 teams, you can't have conference games every weekend. Someone's going to be the odd team out. It's Cal's turn this weekend for that. There's the 2-1. Big cut. Fastball cranked up to 89, 2-2.
Yeah, it's a good fastball from Speciak.
Ondina on second with one out here in the sixth. Sun Devils 5-0 their lead. The 2-2 to Vu. Rolled over to first, stays fair, and Larson will take it to the bag himself. Runner Ondina advances to third, 2 away here in the sixth for Nick McLean, who's 2 for 3.
Well, Larson doing a good job of hanging in there. That kind of took a funny hop on him at the end. Not sure if that maybe grazed a little bit of the bag, as it was certainly in that area, but Larson able to hang in there and beat Vu to the bag. Larson's had some well-handled plays at first this evening.
He's had a nice glove tonight for sure. So McLean left the yard in the third, singled and scored in the first. He flied out to left field last time up, and this time he takes ball one on the 76-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. Taking a look at some scores from around the Pac-12 updated scores. Washington State leading USC 9-5 in the bottom of the fifth.
Good.
Top of the seventh, Cal leads San Jose State 7-4. This one hit sharply to second, just scoots past the diving Cobb. That'll be a 2-out single for McLean, and it's 6-0 Arizona State.
Couple singles and a home run for Nick McLean. It's been a typical evening at the office for him so far, especially the terrific play that he's had of late. He's been able to keep the party going.
He missed the first part of the season with now I'm going to sound like I don't know the human body. I don't know how to pronounce this word, but a broken bone in his hand, the hamate? Or
the hamate, hamate bone, yeah.
There we go. I learned that word today.
Well, you weren't a biology major here.
I might as well have got my degree in basketball here. Jacob Tobias steps in. He homered his last time up. They made me get a degree in something, though, so I majored in Spanish. What was your major?
Urban Studies.
There you go. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Got him out in front. The off-speed offering. 1-1.
Nice breaking ball there from Speciak, but even though Campos, who has been their biggest bat overall so far this season, has been quiet, McLean and Tobias have more than picked up the slack. And it was Tobias who struck out in the first, but still ended up scoring later in that inning.
That was kind of the table setter for how this game has gone thus far. Still time for Stanford to turn things around, but first want to get out of the sixth. Count 2-1 to Tobias, and they're going to check back on first as a ball escapes Larson, but it stays right at first as they check in on McLean, who's 6 for 7 in stolen base opportunities this year. Speciak's retired 4 batters to this point. He's given up the 1 earned run, 1 hit, 1 walk. 7th batter he's faced as that misses outside, 2-1.
There has been action in the Stanford bullpen. I have not been able to tell exactly whom it is. It's a right-handed pitcher. I can tell you that.
Count 3-1 as they check back on McLean at first. Yeah, our view's a little obstructed of the bullpen. Got one of the light stanchions directly in view of where one of the bullpen mounds is. Here's the 3-1, and this one rolled over to short. Haskins makes the throw on the run. Another nice glove from Larson, as that will end the top of the sixth, but not before another run comes through on an RBI single from Nick McLean, scoring Ondina, and the Sun Devils lead Stanford 6-0 as we head to the bottom of the sixth. B6 here at Sunken, 6-0 Arizona State leading Stanford. Kevin Anna, Troy Clarity with you, one of Two Stanford luminaries with the last name Clardy. Chloe of Stanford women's basketball pronounces it Clardy. You two might have to have a convo on how you pronounce the last name.
Yeah, I think we'll get that done at some point.
Okay. Here's Ethan Hott taking ball one outside. Ben Jacobs on for a sixth inning of work. It's kind of like you had two Taras here at Stanford, but one was pronounced Tara. Tara Danielson, former field hockey head coach. And, of course, Tara Vanderveer, recently retired. So we wish her a happy retirement. Only the best coach in women's college basketball history with 3 NCAA titles and the most wins of all time. Strike one taken.
And, of course, it was announced earlier this week that the court at Maples Pavilion will be named in Tara Vanderveer's honor.
As it should. Now we just need a statue for Tara outside of Maples. Probably the best placement for it right now is where they're doing the renovation in the locker room.
Right,
so probably be a ways before we get that statue. 3-1 to Hott.
Man, we got a lot of projects happening around here. Maples Pavilion being expanded with the locker rooms and a lot of the back of house aspects. Toby Family Tennis Stadium is going to be completely redone. The softball stadium is being completely redone as well.
Ball 4 to Hott. He was walked on 5 pitches.
So Ray Perper and the Stanford Athletics facility staff, a lot of projects that they're going to be undergoing here in the months ahead.
Troy, it wouldn't be Stanford University if there wasn't some sort of construction
You
going
got
on.
that right, man. One of my favorite pastimes is especially going over to the techie side of campus and just counting all the buildings that I don't recognize and have never seen before.
Yeah. Court McDonald, you can do that yearly. Strike one taken by Court, who's 0 for 2 today with a couple of flyouts, 1 to center, 1 to right.
Meanwhile, this hasn't been a flashy outing by Ben Jacobs by any stretch of the imagination, but to this point it's been effective. Stanford with his best chance perhaps in that first inning. They did get 2 on in the 5th, but Cardinal haven't had much to swing at.
4 walks, 3 hits, no runs, though, given up by Jacobs as this one is roped into right. That'll be played on a couple of hops by McLean, and 2 on, nobody out. Perhaps this is the inning where Stanford makes it stand.
Boy, I thought Hott might try to give third base a go for a second there, but was held up. It's okay. 2 on and nobody out. Stanford, I'm sure, will still take that with one of your best bats coming to the plate.
Campos comes out to the mound. That's the Sam Peraza, the pitching coach. And there is a Sun Devil righty throwing in the pen. Let's see what they decide here with Jacobs. He's at 87 pitches right now, so you figure he can go a little more. Should that be the call? This is about to be broken up, this meeting on the mound.
Again, manufacturer number 10, Malcolm.
He's gone at least 96 pitches his last 3 outings. Season high 112, coming in a 5-3 win at UCLA on April 19th. All right, Malcolm Moore now. 1 for 2 with a single in the first. Big opportunity here for the Cardinal with 2 on and nobody out. Swing and a miss. The breaking ball from Jacobs, strike 1. It's Hott on second, McDonald on first. Nice pitch there, 0-2.
Moore's been susceptible to breaking balls, it seems, especially tonight. And actually struck out in the 4th inning on a breaking ball that he might not have been expected. Was struck out looking.
Yeah, kind of got hung up there. Swings at 1 low, and that's strike 3. So that is strikeout number 7 for Ben Jacobs.
And Jacobs has done his best work against Stanford's biggest bats. Has struck out Moore twice now.
Yep.
And has already struck out Natai twice. And Jimmy's going to get another crack at it potentially right here.
Natai, the sophomore from Sydney, who we learned between innings has a pet snake. Snakes are big in Australia. Not always friendly. Natai hits one sharply to third, but foul.
Isn't it part of your Australia starter pack? Right? You step off the plane, they hand you a snake?
Yeah, I believe so. We'll say one of my favorite movies of all time growing up as a kid, Anaconda. With Ice Cube and J-Lo. Oh.
And the Oscar goes to?
Low and away on the fastball. Yeah, I forced my mom to take me and a couple of friends. I was in the 4th grade. She had nightmares for weeks.
Meanwhile, you probably had the time of your life.
Oh, yeah, and I got a rubber snake, big black anaconda rubber snake after it. It's the 1-1. This one popped foul. 1-2. There was, of course, anacondas. Then there was the knockoff that featured Dean Cain boa, about a 100-foot-long boa constrictor that was making its way down the Alaska pipeline. I'm sure everyone remembers that movie. I enjoyed it. CGI maybe not quite modern.
Is this what people did before Sharknado?
Yes. Boa was ahead of its time. It was like the Sharknado for snakes. I have Sharknado on DVD and still haven't seen it. I know, Julia. I'm sorry. 2-2 to Natai. Swing and a miss. 92-mile-an-hour fastball for Jacobs. That's his 8th strikeout.
And 5 of them have come against Moore and Natai. He has done his best work against the middle, the heart of the Cardinal lineup. He's been terrific in that part of it.
Brandon Larson showing off a nice glove today. 0 for 2. So Stanford got the first 2 guys on base. A walk for Hott, a single for McDonald, but then a couple of swinging strikeouts. Is that slider misses low and away. 1-0.
Jacobs struck out 11 in 6 1/3 against USC on April 26th.
Just the 1-0. Swung on a miss. 1-1 again. This guy averages 13.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. Just a great number, especially for a starting pitcher. He's had 8 strikeouts through 5 2/3 today. There's the 1-1. Got it at the knees. 93-mile-an-hour fastball. I believe that's the fastest, hardest he's thrown today.
Jacobs got the win at UCLA, his former team.
Yeah.
He was a Bruin last year. Got the win against UCLA earlier this year. Threw 5 strong, struck out 8.
There's the 1-2, and Larson did a good job to fight that one off. In on the hands. Count will remain the same. Mentioned 13.5 Ks per 9. If he strikes out Larson, he'd be on pace for exactly 13.5 strikeouts tonight per 9 innings. Here's the 1-2. Just missing. Jacobs wanted that one. 2-2. And there's still a guy on the mound in the Arizona State bullpen. And even if we had binoculars, wouldn't be able to tell who that is. There's the 2-2, swung on a miss, off speed, got him. What a pitch from Ben Jacobs, who has struck out 9 and struck out the last 3 batters he's faced. We head to the 7th. It's still 6-0 ASU here at Stanford. Top of the 7th to you, folks. 6-0 ASU over SU. Kevin and Troy Clarity with you. as Brandon Compton will lead things off. He's had a productive day at the plate, 2 for 2 with a walk. Doubled his last time up. A walk, a single, and a double with the Buckeye Arizona native. Swing and a miss.
Compton now 14 of his last 27. Over a 6+ game span.
This one lifted into center. Coming in and having to play it on a hop is hot. So a leadoff single here in the 7th for Compton.
15 to 28. Still hitting over 500
Yeah,
now in a
that
6+
is-
game span. I mean, it's not a fluke.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's not low volume.
No.
And he's bumped his batting average up as a result over those last 28 at-bats to 352. And this is a team that hits 303 as a squad to lead the Pac-12. If you can combine that with the pitching that Ben Jacobs has shown tonight, this is a team that can make some noise in Scottsdale.
I mean, just get some pitching that's statistically a bit more towards the middle of the pack.
Yeah, exactly.
And Arizona State's probably coming away with a few more results. Now, that said, they have won several just boffo high-scoring games this year.
Yeah, the 21-18 win. That was more points combined than when Arizona State and Washington met on the gridiron this year. I want to say it was like a 15-7 game.
They've won 14-13. They've lost 14-13. Hammered USC 17-2.
Nathan Mendoza behind 0-2 as he lifts this one to right. Nadai underneath it makes the catch for the first out of the 7th.
Yeah, they just largely feasted. They had a little streak there where they, in their series finale at UCLA, they dropped 13 on the Bruins, then 12 on USC, and then 17 more on the Trojans the next day after that.
Yeah, numbers are ridiculous.
Back-to-back wins over UC San Diego, in which they won 15-5 and 19-8, and then 23-18 last week. So
they playing with the old metal bats and just not telling anyone? Isaiah Jackson stepping in. 0 for 2, was hit by a pitch last time up. Speciak has gone 2 innings now. He's given up the 1 run, 2 hits, a walk, no strikeouts. Compton on first, 2 for 4 in stolen base attempts as Moore keeps that one in front of him. And Jackson looks over to Compton at first and says, "Stay there." Two and 0, fastball missing in. Sun Devils went 32-23 last year, not good enough to make the NCAA tournament. Went 1-1 in their 3-team pod. There's the 3-0 to Jackson. And there's strike 1. So how it works is there's 3 3-team pods, Pool A, Pool B, Pool C. 1 seed, 6 seed, and 9 seed in one, 2, 5, 8 in another, 3, 4, 7 in another. Everyone plays each other twice. The 3 pool winners in a wild card team advance to the semis as there's strike 2. And any tiebreaker is awarded to the highest seeded team.
You got all that out there?
Yeah, so max you can play 4 games if you go to the championship game. Everyone plays at least 2. 3-2 runner going, swung on and missed, and that's going to be a strike him out but not throw him out as Compton steals second. So his 3rd stolen base. But Jackson struck out for the 3rd time. I'll bring up Mario DeMera. DeMera 0 for 3 today. Four-year letter winner at St. Ignatius High in San Francisco. He's from Burlingame, which is basically where San Francisco Airport is, right there, Burlingame-Millbrae area. It's probably about 20-ish minutes away from SI. This one's fouled off. The Wildcats, St. Ignatius.
Nice downtown Burlingame.
Yeah, it is. I've been there once or twice. The home of a former Stanford athlete, Drew Schiller.
Yeah.
Burlingame High legend, has his number retired for baseball, football, and basketball.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. The number 9, Drew Schiller. Fouled off down the right field line. Pretty sure that was his number. Should probably know that as his broadcast partner of 12 years.
Probably.
0 for 2, 0 and 2 to Tamara, who is 0 for 3. Fielder's choice last time up. Speciak trying to get out of this inning without any damage done. 0-2 count with 2 out and a runner on second. That runner being Compton. Swung on and missed, and there's the second strikeout for Speciak. So a strong 7th inning there for Ryan Speciak, who's done his best to keep this relatively close. I mean, they're down 6-0 as we head to the 7th inning stretch, but with a team that has a team ERA of 6.80, maybe some hope yet for the Cardinal as we head to the bottom of the 7th. 6-0 Arizona State leading Stanford as we head to the bottom of the 7th. And Arizona State has a reliever out there, Matt Teeding, a righty, 6'3", 225-pound redshirt senior from Fort Worth, Texas, out of All Saints Episcopal School there. A 2-time transfer, first from Arkansas Tech and then San Jacinto College. This year, his second as a Sun Devil. This is his 20th appearance. He's made 1 start. He's 1-0 with a 6.25 ERA and 1 save. He's gone 36 innings. He's given up 55 hits, 28 runs, 25 earned, 10 walks against 26 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .342 against him. So when you hear those numbers, and I feel like Stanford has a chance perhaps to make some inroads here in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, but Stanford has to show it first. They've only been able to scatter 4 hits in the first 6 innings of this one. And Ben Jacobs, 6 shutout frames, 4 hits, 4 walks, and 9 strikeouts.
Took him 101 pitches, 57 strikeouts, 57 strikes. 57 strikeouts, Troy, would be a record.
That would.
Sapien has not registered an official at-bat. He's walked twice. So Jacobs lowers his ERA from 4.97 to 4.45. A great outing. Twirling a 4-hitter through 6 innings. So nice stuff from him. Count 0-2 to Sapien. Quickly behind 0-2. It's the VHAC Colony product. Hit .301 last year in 27 starts and 33 games played. Sapien fouls that one off. Back to the backstop.
Teeding threw 2 against the U of A on Tuesday. A couple hits, a run, it was earned.
It was a 5-3 loss to their Arizona in-state rivals.
And that was a non-conference game. They
Yeah.
played a Pac-12 series much earlier in the season, the weekend of St. Patrick's Day, March 15th through 17th.
One of the first conference weekends.
Yep.
That one's fouled off. Count stays 1-2.
And the Sun Devils took 2 of 3 from the Wildcats in that series down in Tucson.
One of 5 conference series they have won out of 9 as this one is fouled off. They swept UCLA. They swept Cal. They got swept by Washington State, swept by Oregon State. Took 2 of 3 from USC and UW and Arizona. Took 1 of 3 as this one is a slow roller in front of the catcher, and Campos makes the play. Took 1 of 3 just to finish up against Oregon. Took 1 of 3 against Utah. Those are their Pac-12 series. This, of course, being their last conference series. They'll head to the Big 12 after this year, along with Utah, Colorado, and Arizona. Stanford and Cal, of course, to the ACC. Washington State and Oregon State to the WCC for non-football sports. Here's the first offering. Whoa. really turned it down a notch, down to 72 miles an hour there for Matt Teating. Trevor Haskins looking at strike 2. He singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2, hitting now 294 on the season. And of course, just to finish up, UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon to the Big Ten. And struck out on 3 pitches, Trevor Haskins. That'll bring up Timo Becerra.
Stanford bats have looked out of sync for much of the night, and especially the deeper this game has gone along. Jacobs with 7 of his 9 strikeouts after the 3rd inning. And that was impressive stuff by Teating against Haskins.
So Timo Becerra stepping in. And Timo takes strike 1. On breaking ball. Singled in the 3rd, struck out swinging in the 5th, did the Cardinal third baseman, Clovis native, right outside of Fresno. And off balance there, 0-2. Jacobs was living 92, 93 miles an hour. And Teating cranks that one back. A chopper to short, handled by Ondina. The throw on a hop and a great glove there at first by Tobias. And 3 up, 3 down for the Cardinal in the 7th. We head to the 8th. Arizona State 6, Stanford 0. 6-0 Arizona State leading Stanford as we head to the top of the 8th. The new pitcher on the bump for Stanford, and to introduce him and to give you the PXP for the 8th and 9th innings at least is Troy Clarity.
Thank you, Kevin. Cassius Thomas takes the mound for the Cardinal, the 3rd different pitcher for Stanford here tonight. Thomas, a sophomore from Los Angeles, transferred from Duke. His numbers on the year, about to make his 20th appearance, an ERA of 7.12 and a 1-1 record, 24 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, 21 walks. Opposing batters hitting .286 against Thomas, who has issued 7 wild pitches and has hit 11 batters. So when he's able to find the zone, he can be quite effective. But unfortunately for Cassius, for much of this season, that has been a fleeting occurrence. But he'll try to hold it down for Stanford here in this situation. Matt Scott threw the first 4 1/3 and got charged with 5 runs, 2 of them earned. A couple of errors not helping Matt Scott's cause there, as he's currently on the hook for the loss. Ryan Speciak, final line on him, 2 2/3 with 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 1 walk in and 2 strikeouts. So by and large, even though Arizona State did get 1 run on Speciak, by and large, Ryan did the job, ate up some innings, and didn't let things get completely out of hand.
Yeah, no, that's what you wanted from Ryan in that situation. You just limit this high-powered offense to just 1 run. And threw strikes for the most part. He was around a 60% strike rate. Now it's on Cassius Thomas to try to keep this at a 6-0 game.
Night falling here at Sunken Diamond. Not much of a breeze, if there is one. Perfect temperatures, was 80 degrees when we started here tonight. Right now it's 65. Can't ask for much better. Unless you're a Stanford fan and you're watching the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here.
You could ask for, I guess, a little bit better if you're a Stanford fan.
Yeah, sure.
Arizona State fan, this is the perfect evening.
You're kind of liking life right around now.
Yeah, and there are some Sun Devil fans sitting to our left.
Steven Ondina walked and scored in the 6th. And he looks at a strike that evens up the count, 1-1 from Thomas here. Ondina finished his freshman season at Florida International on a 17-game hit streak. Fastball, big swing and a miss, mighty cut by Ondina. 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Check that. The 1-2 pitch floats it up high, 2-2. Arizona State has had the lead for the entirety of this game. They struck for 3 in the top half of the first on just 1 base hit. The 2-2 pitch Ondina thought about it, didn't go for it. Count full.
Yeah, good eye there from Ondina.
Thomas ready, so is Ondina. Reaches out and sends that one just over the screen. A fan in the 5th row misplays it.
Popped out of his hands. He was E-fan.
Yep. When he tells that story, when he gets home later tonight, he caught it and then gave it to a kid.
Yeah, of course. Got to rewrite history a little bit.
Payoff pitch once again, high and outside, ball 4.
You're talking about Ondina ending his FIU career on a 17-game hit streak. Think about all the close to unbreakable records there are in sports. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak, I think, is close to unbreakable.
Yeah.
Remember, Luis Castillo went 35 games in a row, like 2003 when he was with the Florida Marlins. I think someone had like a 37-game hit streak over the course of 2 seasons, not too long after that. But 56 feels pretty untouchable.
That's as untouchable as a record can be, I would imagine. Back to the top of the Arizona State batting order we go, and Ryan Campos calls time, I believe, and head back over towards the Sun Devil dugout. Campos has been quiet so far, looking for his first base hit. Struck out in the 1st, grounded out in the 2nd, popped out in the 4th, and then grounded out again in the 6th. And
wiping his face.
I'm not sure if maybe something got into his eye or maybe a nosebleed situation, perhaps.
I was thinking maybe a bloody nose.
Other untouchable records on the major league level. I think a lot of the pitching records, especially for starting pitchers,
like
wins.
Yeah, wins completely.
I mean, 200 wins is going to be a rarity now.
Yeah. Thought of someone getting 300 wins.
I mean, that's.
Yeah. We might have seen our last 300 winner.
Campos is okay. Limbers up. And he's ready to go. Well, Steven Ondina at first after drawing the leadoff walk here in the top of the 8th. First pitch on the way. Opposite field, fouled off.
Man, gave it a ride. That had home run distance. Did clear the wall.
No balls and 1 strike. Smacked back up the middle, past a diving Haskins, and into center field for a base hit. Ondina holds up at 2nd. 2 on, nobody out, and that was smacked sharply into center field.
Yeah, hit right back up the middle. That's got to feel good for Campos. Seeing everyone else in the top half of the order have success. It's his first hit.
9th base hit overall by Arizona State.
And all from hitters 1 through 5.
That's where the damage has come from. Kian Vu can certainly put Stanford in an even tougher position right now. Vu walked, later came around to score in the 1st, doubled in the 4th. Shows bunt. Bunt in the air. Rolls past Becerra. But foul. Did Becerra touch it?
Yeah,
apparently not.
I thought he might have. Well, that was close. And they might want to look at this.
I think so too. Naked eye, real time, I thought that Becerra might have gotten a thumb on it. Willie Bloomquist out of the Arizona State dugout comparing notes with Jeff Heinrichs. hoping to perhaps change Heinrich's mind, or are we going to have, at the very least, a conference between the umpires? It does not appear so. So, call on the field stands. Vu has to come back.
Stanford fortunate there.
I suspect so, too. Ondina at second, Campos at first. Thomas on the mound. Deals the 0-1. It's high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Inside, and Vu has to back away from it.
Yeah, life flashed before his eyes on that one.
That one, 92 on the gun. 2 balls and 1 strike. Chopped foul. Count goes to 2-2. Game 1 of this 3-game set. Game 2 tomorrow. First pitch at 2:05 p.m. Game 3, Mother's Day at 1:05 p.m. The home finale. 2-2. Outside, count full once again.
Unless we have a rabbit again, then of course the first pitch will be 2:10 and 1:10.
We were 5 minutes late tonight because of a rabbit that was on the field beforehand. That was kind of pushing things back a little bit. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Runners going. Throw to third. Safe. Ondina just able to avoid the tag attempt from Becerra.
Yeah, the throw was just a little too far off third base. Just a little bit, the opposite side of up the line, shading towards short. And otherwise, might have been able to get the strike him out, throw him out.
Well, Stanford does get 1 out. That's good news. But here comes Nick McLean, who's played like John McClain so far here tonight. 3 for 4. A couple singles, and a solo home run, and an RBI single in the 6th. Cracks this one. Deep in the hole. Cobb gets it, throws over to first in time for the out. Ondina scores, and now it's 7-0 Arizona State.
Productive out. It's a 3 RBI day for McLean.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah.
Jacob Tobias hit a solo shot in the 5th. Campos has moved over to third. The leadoff walk coming around to score. That's outside for ball 1 from Thomas to Tobias. Tobias went 5 for 5 at Oregon on St. Patrick's Day. Drove in 3 against Stanford last year, May 7th. Just a little bit over a year to the day. Also drove in 3 here in this building April 10th of 2022.
So he likes playing Stanford.
He's done some decent things against the Cardinal, it seems. Looks at the breaking ball that goes over for a called strike 1. Tobias struck out in the first inning, but it was a wild pitch that Moore couldn't hold. Kian Vu was at third at the time. And Moore went to third instead of going to first to get the short putout to retire Tobias. And Timo Becerra, the Stanford third baseman, had the ball glance off of his glove. That allowed the first 2 runs of the game to score. The 3-1. Hit to center. Hot, drifting back, and making the catch for the third out of the inning. Sun Devils push across another. 7-0 ASU. Bottom eighth about to begin. Stanford down 7-0. Top of the order for the Cardinal with Owen Cobb, Ethan Hott, and Court McDonald due up for Stanford.
Well, the goal would be to at least get a couple back this inning, try to make the ninth as leviathan of a task as a 7-run deficit would be.
Cobb looks at strike one from Teeting. Cobb walked in the first, was thrown out at home. Flew out in the third, struck out in the fifth. Tapped foul. Cobb down quickly 0-2. 4 base hits for Stanford today. One by Malcolm Moore, one by Timo Becerra, one by Trevor Haskins, and one by Court McDonald. All singles. That one didn't miss by a whole lot. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And over their last 3 games, you mentioned all singles, they've had just 1 extra base hit. So be nice for the bats to wake up a little bit.
Cobb trying to leg this one out as the throw from DeMera sails high. Cobb ends up at second.
Imagine that's a single E5.
As DeMera sent that one to Portola Valley. So it is indeed single E5. And Ethan Hott coming to the plate, grounded into a 5-4-3 double play to end the third inning. Walked to begin the sixth. Hott walked, then McDonald singled, and Stanford was trying to have a little something going as they were down 5-0 at that point, as that one's fouled off. So Stanford had 2 on and nobody out, but then back-to-back-to-back strikeouts. Moore, Natai, and Larson all went down swinging to end the mini threat by the Cardinal in the sixth.
Yeah, and if you're Teeting, you're not too concerned there, right? You've been paying the zone pretty good. That was an infield single that you gave up, so they're not really hitting you that hard.
Popped up, trying to find it. Campos almost lost it, but is able to hang on to it. 1 away. A lot of other ballparks, that's in the front row.
Yep.
Not the case here at Sunken Diamond.
A lot of foul territory.
Court McDonald 1 for 3, singled in the sixth. Pitch outside from Teeting for ball 1. Teeting threw 5 shutout innings against Cal back on March 28th and got the win that day. Floats an off-speeder in there, called strike 1. Just kind of spun that in there. Cobb at second. And Court cracks this one foul, 1-2. End of 7 up in Pullman. Washington State leading USC 18-6. Cougs will go for 2. We'll update you on that as we go. The 1-2 pitch. Lasered foul above the Arizona State dugout.
It took me a while, but I got it.
Cal winners over San Jose State 7-4, the final from Berkeley. Oregon State handling UCLA 8-0. That's in the top of the sixth. And we got a tie game, bottom 7th at the Husky Ballpark. 6-all between Oregon and Washington. McDonald wanted that swing back as he fouled that one off.
For Washington State, you're trying to crack into that top 9. You're a game behind UW for the 9th and final spot. So it's a big start to the weekend, assuming they can hold on.
Slicing to left field, but Vu makes the catch. 2 outs. And that brings up Malcolm Moore, who has kind of had a tough night at the plate. Hit a hard single in the first inning, but was struck out twice since then. Yeah, Washington State hosts, check that, they head to Eugene next week to close out Pac-12 play. As Moore fouls off the first pitch that he sees. UCLA in trouble and may be cementing their status as being the team on the outside looking into the Pac-12 tournament if things don't turn around for them quick, fast, and in a hurry. Tall task against Oregon State, especially at Goss, so good luck to them on that. 1-1. Off the fifth foul, 1-2.
They're going to need to win at least 3 of their final 5 and probably 4 or 5 of their final 5 to give themselves a mathematical chance.
Yeah, and get help.
Yep. Yeah, because Washington State, you figure, is going to be at 9 wins. Washington's at 9 wins right now. UCLA's at 6.
The 1-2 pitch just misses a little bit outside, 2-2. Cobb with a leadoff single. Advanced to second on a throwing error by Mario DeMera, the Sun Devils' third baseman. Bit of a shift is on here for Moore. As this one is cracked to right field, gets down for a base hit. Cobb comes around and scores. An RBI single for Malcolm Moore puts Stanford on the board.
Yeah, maybe that can break out the rally caps. Big turnaround first, but you don't need to try to leg out a double there. You just need to keep the line moving. Nice piece of hitting there from Malcolm.
So Moore 2 for 4 on the evening with the RBI. Jimmy Natai 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts.
Like the rest of this team, that batting average slowly creeping up for Malcolm Moore, now north of 250. Really struggled to start the season. That's the guy who hit .311 as a freshman last year when he was named Pac-12 Freshman of the Year.
Had a little more help around him in the lineup last year.
Yeah. But of course, when you have 9 guys drafted, another guy by the name of Braden Montgomery in the lineup, that'll help.
1 ball and 1 strike to Natai.
Braden at Mississippi State. Texas A&M, excuse me.
Yep.
Getting my red SEC schools mixed up.
Equally rabid fan bases, though, as that's hit on a high chop to DeMera and gets to first base on a bounce to Tobias. RBI single by Malcolm Moore puts the Cardinal on the board. They'll need, hopefully, 6 more in the 9th. 7-1, Arizona State with the lead after 8. 7-1, Arizona State leading Stanford as we begin the 9th inning. Cassius Thomas still on the mound for the Cardinal. Pinch hitter for Brandon Compton in the 5th spot of the Arizona State order is Eamon Lance. Lance, a grad transfer from Fairfax, California. Just hop on 101, head across the Golden Gate Bridge, and you'll get there in a bit. Lance transferring from Santa Clara. He was all West Coast Conference honorable mention a couple years ago. Lance hitting .271 with 6 home runs and 16 RBI. When your first guy off the bench has 6 home runs, it's not a bad option to have.
You mentioned he was all WCC honorable mention 2 years ago. He would have been all conference last year, but missed like the first couple of months of the season with an injury. And so didn't play in enough games, but still hit .356 as he led Santa Clara to the NCAA regionals.
Up high, that one might have slipped out of Thomas's hand a little bit. Count goes to 2-1 on Lance. Hit a pinch hit solo home run in the bottom of the 9th against Arizona on Tuesday. That brought the Sun Devils a little bit closer. The Wildcats ended up winning that one anyway, but a nice moment for Lance as the count goes to 3-0. Eamon Lance versus Cassius Thomas, the 3-0. Lance walks on 4 pitches. Ethan Mendoza staying in the lineup. Mendoza hit by a pitch in the third. Popped up to Owen Cobb, who made a terrific running grab with his back to home plate in the fifth. And flew out to right in the seventh.
Got a fire truck behind the left field fence.
Yeah, we do. Might be headed towards softball. I'm not sure. Malcolm Moore out to have a conversation with Cassius Thomas.
That's 5 straight balls to start the inning.
I'm looking at the Oregon State UCLA box score. The Beavers are ahead 6. Check that 8-0 in the bottom of the sixth. And ho-hum Travis Bazzana, just 1 for 2 so far in this one. No RBI. Has actually walked twice and struck out once. But that guy, the numbers that he's been putting up this season have just been all time. Never seen individual numbers like what Bazzana's been putting up for Oregon State for this season. Quick conference done. 1 ball, no strikes to Mendoza. Fouled off, heading towards the Stanford bullpen, 1-1. One ball and 1 strike. Laced to right, drops in front of Natai. Laser throw back into the infield, so everybody stays put. But it's a single for Mendoza, his first base hit of the night.
Just the numbers that Mr. Clarity is referencing for Bazzana. I just pulled up the Pac-12 stats. Entering the weekend, leading the conference in batting average, 428, slugging percentage, 1,006, on-base percentage, 591, runs scored, 69, hits, 71, RBIs tied for first with a teammate, Gavin Turley, 59. And 26 home runs. In what, 50 games?
If my memory serves me correctly, he led off the game with a home run 5 consecutive games.
That's nuts.
He's like a cheat code up there in Corvallis. That's strike 1 to Isaiah Jackson, who has struck out 3 times tonight, was hit by a pitch.
And he has 61 walks. I mean, I don't know what you do with this guy.
Wait for his name to get drafted.
Yeah.
Hot shot past Becerra into left field. Everybody holds up. Bases loaded, nobody out. So a walk, a leadoff walk to start. And then back-to-back singles by Mendoza and Jackson with a pinch hitter coming up. And Mario Demera spot. Here's Harris Williams. Williams, a grad transfer, originally from Denver, Colorado, but he transferred to Arizona State from USF. We mentioned him a bit earlier in the show. Williams hitting .284 with 5 home runs and 22 driven in. He was all West Coast Conference second team last year. Honorable mention the year before. Hit 9 home runs for the Dons last season. Bases loaded, nobody out. Fastball in there, called strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Bases loaded. Eamon Lance third, Mendoza at second, Jackson at first. A soft one. This is high and outside. 1-1.
There's a couple guys throwing in the Stanford bullpen.
There is a right-handed pitcher warming up. Our view of him is obstructed by one of the light towers. Fouled off opposite field. 1-2. The 1-2 pitch. Off speed, misses outside.
And Moore tried to snap that one back into the zone.
Sun Devils left him loaded in the third. They won't leave him loaded here, at least not in this instance anyway. Opposite field single for Williams. Drives in 2. 9-1 Arizona State.
Just sweat with the pitch. Harris Williams, another good bat to have on your bench. A guy who hit 346 last year and 284 this year. I mean, just such a deep lineup Arizona State has. And, well, 8 runs, potentially more. It's going to be tough to come back from.
Andina has walked in his last 2 plate appearances. Runners at the corners and nobody out. With 2 in already for the Sun Devils. That pitch goes over for strike 1. The pitch from Thomas. 90 miles an hour, misses high. 1-1. So now it's the bottom of the order getting into the act for A-State. Two and 1. Inside 3-1. Sun Devils have scored in every inning except the 2nd and the 7th. Runner heading down to 2nd. That's ball 4. And that ball slips out of Moore's hand, but everyone stays put. He almost spiked that one.
Yeah. He basically did.
So Thomas with his 3rd walk issued. Back to the top of the order. And Thomas Eager out of the dugout. Walk, single, 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 walk is how things have gone so far for the Sun Devils in this top half of the 9th inning. With nobody out and the bases loaded once again. And Campos, the most dangerous of the Arizona State batters, consistently this season, about to come to the plate, but he will not face Thomas here. New pitcher coming in for the Cardinal. We'll tell you about him in just a moment. Arizona State ahead 9-1, top of the 9th. 9-1, Arizona State leading Stanford, top of the 9th inning. And Nathan Fleischle about to take the mound for his 6th appearance of the season. Fleischle, overall this year, no wins or losses, an ERA of just over 23. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 12 earned runs, has 3 strikeouts and 4 walks. Fleischle, a veteran of this Stanford squad, a grad student from right next door, Atherton, California. This is his first appearance since April 20th against Oregon when he went 1 2/3 and was charged with 3 earned runs in the 17-5 loss to the Ducks.
Well, you figure that you're down 8, bases loaded, nobody out. This is Fleischle's game to finish here in the 9th.
Top of the order for the Sun Devils, Ryan Campos singled in the 8th for his first base hit of the evening. Fleischle's first pitch high for ball 1. Campos played in the Cape Cod League last summer. That's
as good as it gets.
Always a fun experience from what I'm told. 1 ball, no strikes. Pumped in there, 1-1. Isaiah Jackson at 3rd, Williams at 2nd, Andina at 1st. Williams with a 2-run single. That's low. 2 balls and 1 strike to Campos. And Fleischle steps off. Sacred Heart Prep, again from Abberton, right next door. Well, actually, Menlo Park's right next door, but close enough.
Yeah. All the same.
Fouled off, 2-2. Fleischle trying to limit this to just a 2-run frame for Arizona State. Fouled off again. With 58 kids on the left field grassy knoll trying to give chase.
They're still up for the foul balls.
Hey, it's Friday night. No school tomorrow. It's all good.
Exactly.
2-2. In play, Becerra goes to first with it. 1 gun.
Yeah, really only 1 play to make there. Wasn't hit hard enough to come home or get a force at any other base. Team made the right call.
But another run comes across. It's 10-0. Or 10-1, check that.
Hey, don't you dare shortchange this Stanford offense today.
My bad. Runners are second and third with 1 out. Kien Vu double back in the 4th. Kind of an interesting stance. He kind of holds the bat initially with the barrel of the bat, or the edge of the bat, almost pointing straight down towards the ground like he's doing right now, and then he'll pull it back as the pitch gets closer. But this one is sent high and deep down the right field line, and it is out of here.
Now you can point that bat to the center of the earth. You produce results like Kien Vu is doing this year, hitting well north of 410 on the season. Another home run for him. He's hitting 419 after that one. A grand slam for Arizona State.
He pointed that ball to Jupiter.
Yep.
3-run shot makes it 13-1. Now the work nowhere near done yet. Here's Nick McLean, who has done big-time damage here tonight.
Yeah, just 3 for 5 with 3 RBI and a home run himself.
One ball and no strikes. Inside, 2-0 to McLean. Close the book on Cassius Thomas. 1 inning plus, 6 runs all earned. McLean ahead in the count, 3-0. And McLean walks on 4 pitches. Looking over at the Stanford dugout right now and looking at David Esker, and I sense equal parts frustration and resolve.
Yeah. You're playing for the rest of the weekend at this point.
Just hoping to try to find a way to get the bats back in the bottom of the 9th. Jacob Tobias, the batter. Hit to second. And a throw over the first, dug out well by Larson. Trevor Haskins was playing right behind the second base bag, the Stanford shortstop. And he's able to make the play. 2 away.
Another nice glove there from Larson. I'll take that on a hop.
Yeah.
That's like the 4th good play he's had tonight.
That's a bright spot for Stanford tonight. Eamon Lance started all of this with a leadoff walk. And he's picking up a bat for the 2nd time in this inning. Flashley pumps the fastball in there, called strike one. Lance with the walk. Mendoza single. Jackson single. Harris Williams a pinch hit 2-run single. Andino walked. Ryan Campos an RBI ground out. And then Kien Vu with a 3-run home run. Low and away for ball one. Those have been the big blows since Vu's home run. McLean with the walk and Tobias with the ground out. So here's Lance once again. Watches this one go over. 1-2. This will be pitch number 200 for Stanford tonight. Fastball just misses down low, 2-2.
Just a testament to the work that Arizona State has done at the plate. Worked counts to start the game. Bats have stayed hot. They don't go down easy.
The 2-2 pitch to Lance. And now the count full. Yeah, worked counts early, then they started swinging a bit more freely in the middle of the game.
Yep.
So making some adjustments midway through. The 3-2 pitch. High hop to Cobb. And the side is retired. 6 across for the Sun Devils. Cardinal have a big hole to dig out of in the bottom half of the ninth with Arizona State ahead 13-1. 13-1, Arizona State leading Stanford as we begin the bottom of the ninth. Defensive change for Arizona State. Kevin Karstetter replacing Mario DeMera at third, as DeMera was pinch hit for in that top half of the ninth inning. And a new pitcher for the Sun Devils is Jaden Alba, 6'3 freshman from Long Beach, California. Alba about to make his 8th appearance of the year, an ERA of 10.12, does have 1 save to his credit. 5 1/3 innings pitched, opposing batters hitting .360 against the youngster. David Esker turning to his pinch hitters, which have largely done the job this year. First up is Saborn Campbell, pinch hitting for Brandon Larson. Larson in the 6th spot for Stanford. Campbell got the initial look in right field for Stanford at the beginning of the season as Campbell fouls off the first pitch that he sees. Overall in the season, Campbell batting .179 with no home runs and 1 RBI. But when he gets on the base paths, he is trouble in a good way for Stanford.
Detroit Country Day, same high school as Chris Webber.
How about that?
Yeah.
Think his number's retired?
I believe so. One of my favorite players to watch growing up.
Campbell down 0-2 now. Matt Teeting, by the way, through 2 innings, got charged with a run, but it was unearned. The 0-2 pitch. Campbell thinks about it, doesn't go for it. 1-2.
Good eye.
So far this season, at least entering right now, or entering today, I should say, Stanford pinch hitters hitting .326 with an on-base percentage of .436. That's for the season.
That's really good.
Campbell staying alive.
Whoa. That hit a light. Right on the nose.
Yep.
So I've turned into the sound effect making portion of this broadcast.
They're not going to send Saborn the bill on that, are they?
I hope not.
The 1-2, too high, 2-2.
Looks like the light is still working that he pegged. So no bill to be paid.
Fastball low, 3-2. By the way, apparently conditions warranting throughout much of North America, you can see the northern lights
I heard
tonight.
that.
My wife texted me that a few
So they
ago.
said Northern California. Or where in Northern California?
Not sure off the top of my head. I do know that Saborn Campbell is adding on to the portfolio of Stanford pinch hitters as he doubles to right field.
A third extra base hit of the season for Saborn. Second double. He has a triple. And it all started with a leadoff double in the bottom of the ninth.
Brett Blair in the DH spot, pinch hitting for Jake Sapien. Blair hitting .385 on the season. No home runs or RBI to this point. The junior from Gainesville, Florida. High strike called.
Yeah, I was reading up on the Northern Lights potential viewing here in Northern California. I think it's supposed to start around 10:30 Pacific. So
hey, we got about an hour.
Yeah.
The 0-1. Did Blair hold up? He did not. He's down quickly, 0-2.
This is a 13-1 game strike.
The 0-2 to Blair. Just misses, 1-2. Saborn Campbell at second with a leadoff double. One ball and two strikes. Thought about it, didn't go for it. Stanford would love to see Campbell pick up a bat again in this game. That would mean a big inning for the Cardinal. Blair awaits the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball. The slider got him. One away. Here's Gabe Springer. Pinch hitting for Trevor Haskins. Springer, a sophomore from Boulder, Colorado. Hitting .174 on the year. Had a pinch hit home run earlier this season. And has driven in 3 on the year overall. Seven base hits for Stanford tonight. 13 for Arizona State. Low and outside, 2-0. Two balls and no strikes with Campbell at second. Inside, strike called, 2-1. Hey, the Cougs went for 2 and they got it.
Hey, what do you know?
20-7 now the score. Washington State leading USC in the top of the ninth.
So the Trojans get an extra point on like that CFL rule. You can get a point on the kickoff.
That's right down the middle, 2-2. I've always thought, and obviously there's going to be a moot point now with the NFL kickoff changing thanks to our buddy Sam Schwartzstein. This is his rule from the XFL. But I always thought that if a kicker kicked the ball through the uprights on the kickoff, it should be a point.
I agree 100%. I've thought the same thing.
Thank you. Got him looking. Strike 3. Breaking ball is in there, and Stanford down to its last out. Here's Champ Hampton. I approve of his walk-up music.
Yeah.
Hampton from Ooltewah, Tennessee. Plays both football and baseball. As his first pitch from Alba is high for ball 1. Hampton has now appeared in 7 games this season. Is 1 for 4 on the season.
I watched his relative play in the G League. East Tony's one of his relatives. Plays for the Grand Rapids Gold. I was reading his bio, getting ready for some Stanford baseball earlier this year. I'm like, oh, yeah, I like East Tony. He's a good player.
Folks, it should be noted here that if you need any information at all on the G League, Kevin Dana is the man to consult.
Because you watch a college baseball game to get G League info.
Heinrich takes another one
Yeah.
off of his helmet, but doesn't need a moment this time. He's up and kind of tasseling his hair a little bit, so he's okay this time. First time around, he needed a moment.
Yeah.
And Ryan Campos, the Arizona State catcher, might be doing Jeff Heinrichs a little bit of a solid going out to talk to Alba for a brief moment to give Heinrichs a bit to collect himself if he needs it. One ball and 2 strikes to Champ Hampton. The pitch. Tails well outside, 2-2. Hampton, a running back on the Stanford football team. He's been splitting time between both programs this spring. Got a few carries during the season. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, and that's your ball game. Arizona State starts with 3 in the first, and that's all they need as they keep adding on to their tally, finishing up with 6 in the ninth. Add it all together, and it's a 13-1 win for the Sun Devils. Arizona State now 27-24 on the season, 15-13 in Pac-12 play, while Stanford falls to 20-26 and 11-14 in Pac-12 play. Ben Jacobs pitched well for Arizona State. He gets the win. Matt Scott could not recover from that crucial strikeout that turned into a wild pitch and eventually turned into 2 runs as Malcolm Moore popped up, went to third with the throw instead of first to try to get Kien Vu to try to keep him at third, but the ball glanced off of Timo Becerra's glove, went into left field, allowed 2 runs to score. Those were the first 2 runs of the game, and the Sun Devils really never looked back from there.
Yeah, I mean, that was, usually don't get a turning point in the game in the first inning necessarily, but that really felt like the turning point of this one. I mean, look, they come in as the number 1 team in batting average. They have hit 81 home runs coming into this game, popped another 3 in this one, I believe, and just the 13 hits. They're the best hitting team in the Pac-12 for a reason. We saw it today. Patient to start, took their hacks in the middle innings, and then just for fun, put in 6 more in the 9th inning to really remove any sort of doubt in this one.
Arizona State now leaps above Cal in the Pac-12 standings, so now Arizona State in 6th place by themselves. They were tied at 14-13, Cal playing non-conference action later on this week. So Matt Scott with the loss, he falls to 4-8 on the season. Ben Jacobs goes up to 6-2 on the year. The big blow struck by Kien Vu, who had a 3-run homer in the 9th inning. Nick McLean just peppering Stanford pitching throughout. 3 for 5 with the home run and 3 driven in as well. And Arizona State puts it all together. 13 runs, 13 hits, and 1 error for the Sun Devils. And meanwhile, it is 1 run on 7 hits and 2 errors for the Cardinal. Time of the game, 3 hours, 23 minutes, just under 1,900 spent their evening here at Sunken Diamond. We hope you'll spend your afternoon here at Sunken Diamond tomorrow. Game 2 of this series, first pitch at 2:05 p.m. Christian Lim, the freshman lefty, getting the call, projected to get the call for the Cardinal. Connor Markle, another lefty, scheduled to get the call for the Arizona State Sun Devils. So first pitch at 2:05 p.m. That means we'll see you at 2 o'clock. On behalf of our terrific Stanford live stream crew, my broadcast partner Kevin Dana, I'm Troy Clarity. Thank you for joining us once again tonight. 13-1 Arizona State over Stanford here at Sunken Diamond tonight. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and go Stanford.